or you are going to learn about them in a refreshingly, very fresh perspective. And I urge all of us as we are here, open up your minds, open up your spirits, open up your imagination. This is a very creative class that will call for your mental participation. Please open up yourself very freely and chase away every bias. And you would certainly go away from here very improved. It is at meetings like this that the course of destinies can be changed. A major decision in your life can come as a product of this engagement. So we must very especially thank those who have selflessly provided this opportunity to, especially young minds, to come and engage. Recently, I was invited to train bankers of a certain bank, Keystone, from all the branches in Akwa Ibom and Cross River. So they came, and one of the participants there asked a question, and it was on capital, which is one of the questions that people ask. If you ask any young person, what is the problem you have? They say, I need capital. Everybody needs money. Why have you not started your business? Capital. Why have you not gone to school? Fees, money, capital. Everybody wants money. Everybody. One of the reasons for why many people have not started is money. So someone asks that question, and that can be a very difficult question to answer, because you either have the money to give the person or you don't have. It's a straightforward question. Or you direct the person where the person can get the money. But the truth of the matter is that what we call capital is actually not about physical cash. Capital is what you can obtain through mentorship. Because the truth is that that 1 million naira that you are looking for to start that business, should you be in the position to have that 1 million, will you give it out to anybody? That is what I asked the person who asked me that question. Let's assume you are the big man and you have 3 million in your account, and somebody came with a very brilliant idea that is 1.5 million. Can you part with half of your money to just anybody because the person has a brilliant idea? The person said no. I said, that is the reason nobody has given you money. Because first, you don't deserve it. And how do you deserve it? Mentorship. Mentorship is a platform that you gain what money cannot give you. And that is what the Igbos have applied in their apprenticeship system. That somebody comes from one village in the southeast to a different town to understudy a master in that supermarket, in that business, in that mechanic shop. And the person stays there for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. What the person is going through is mentorship. And at the end of the mentorship, the person is settled. If the person is not expressly settled, there is a system of settlement. What happens is that the person who supplies wholesale products to the master has known this boy who has been in this shop for the past 5 years. So when the boy has now started his own shop, can supply this boy goods without collecting money. Because he's sure that this guy who was at XYZ supermarket and served his master for 5 years is trustworthy to be able to sell these products. And if this man comes back in 1 week, he has sold half, he gets the money and gives him more products to continue to sell. So at the end of the day, that money you had been looking for can better be achieved if you go through it through mentorship. And it applies to every aspect of life. Even in Christian ministry, who do pastors hand over to? Is it not assistant pastors who have served them for a period? Who do politicians nominate for political offices? Is it not their PAs, people who have served them, than someone who comes with PhD and say, I am qualified? That is why that politician cannot nominate you, who thinks you have all the degrees, but you have never served under anybody. So what you call connection, what you call man no man, is actually mentorship. I needed to clear our minds to know that this class that we are about to undertake It's a very special class. It will offer you what money cannot offer you. And some of us look down on mentorship because it has to do with humility. It has to do with service. It has to do with learning. There is no big man who rose to wherever he is without going through a process of mentorship. Mentorship will take you to places your mates cannot reach. So while your mates are struggling, making applications, see, the more sensitive a job is, the more it will come through recommendation. The more lucrative a job is, the more you may not have to write exams. People recommend people to places. And who do they recommend? Their mentees. They recommend people they know. Someone will prefer his driver to occupy a sensitive position than even his own child who did not understudy him. So your closeness to a particular system does not guarantee you're benefiting from it if you do not submit to that mentorship. So let's prepare our minds to unlearn some of the things you already know and to learn in new ideas, because mentorship is one of the surest ways to getting yourself out of poverty, out of lack, and to set your career and destiny path to a higher realm. Even in the field of medicine and in high professions, if for instance, a big hospital, maybe a specialist hospital, wants to hire a doctor, and a consultant is there to recommend, who do you think the consultant will recommend? He will recommend a young doctor who has been assisting him in his private clinic, who has been helping him, running around, running to do operation, running there, and all that. Rather than just call for applications for very intelligent doctors. They won't give it to the so-called intelligent doctors because you have not been tried and you have not been tested. I'm not holding any class. I'm just giving a very brief introduction to some of the quality of things we would be listening to today. So, very special thanks goes to the entire team, Umo Eno, that has they've put together this wonderful program, totally free of charge. These are programs that if you know what it really costs, you would have to pay so much money to attend. But this platform has been thrown open so that you can come and learn some of the deepest secrets of success, because there are actually industry experiences that you will learn that nobody ever gets to teach you, even in the classroom. Even in broadcasting, there are things that even if you read come arts to PhD, they won't tell you in the classroom until you meet people on the field. They tell you how money is made. They tell you how income is generated. Otherwise, you just move around writing applications and looking for jobs, and after a long time, you get frustrated in every field of endeavor. And even for people here who are yet to realize their purpose and chart their own destiny path, this is an opportunity for you to realign and see what will make sense and what will not help you to further in your earthly existence. So once again, please let's appreciate the entire leadership of Team Umo Eno for this wonderful platform. I think that round of applause can be better than that. Thank you so very much indeed for this awesome opportunity. Let me begin by recognizing very seasoned Nigerians who have joined us here this very wonderful morning and afternoon. Meanwhile, my name is Anyekebe Finba, by way of introduction, and I talk for a living, depending on who is willing to pay and ready to pay. But currently, His Excellency Governor Udo Emmanuel is paying for those services. So, State Treasurer of the People's proceeded to represent the good people of Eket Ona Esrekeribno in the House of Representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please appreciate this great lady of class and quality, Mrs. Oribere Ekota, with a very big round of applause. That applause is not accounting enough. Can we do it better? You're most welcome, and thank you very much. You know, when people have risen to the peak of politics, people actually think that they just went there overnight. There is something about professionalism and education and exposure that gets you to places that ordinarily other people will not get there. So when we find people who are very well trained and very well mannered, you're most welcome. And thank you very much for being a good mentor to young people, especially for females in our great city. Boy, man, and you're going on that very great ladies, right on the way. You're most welcome. Thank you very much. We recognize and welcome you. We'd love to welcome the members of the State Executive Council who have joined us here this great afternoon. Let me begin by the gentleman who I would say almost single-handedly invited all of us here. A very senior knight of the church, a great gentleman who is in tune with multiple ideas. He's very creative, dexterous professional of over 3 decades. When someone has worked successively in several corporate organizations and leaves those organizations better than he meets them and continues to excel and excel, there's something about that person that is special. So this gentleman here has been a trainer and a consultant himself at FITC. That's an institution owned by the Nigeria Bankers Committee. He has been a very seasoned banker over the years. Started out at First Bank, moved on to Guaranteed Trust Bank, became Group Brand Manager and Head of Corporate Communications at GTB. And of course, some of the wonderful advertorials and the beautiful branding that GTB still enjoys till today in this country was made possible by that gentleman who is seated there. Moved over to Diamond Bank, became Group Head of Corporate Communications by KPMG, ventured entrepreneurship, founded his own company, Adams and Agnes Limited. He's been involved in a lot of branding for so many companies, ExxonMobil, FCMB, CNBC Africa, Azamansad and the rest. And then he wasn't done, moved back again to the bank. And at the last point, before he called into government, he was the brand and marketing communications chief at Wema Bank. And we are very delighted to bring on this very wonderful Commissioner for Information in our great state. He was Commissioner for Information and Strategy, and then moved over to supervise the entire environment. You know, as a great son of Uyo, he knows the environment more than some of us who knows. He knows it in the day, and he knows it so in the night. Commissioner for Environment and Solid Minerals, ladies and gentlemen, Sir Charles Uno. And we appreciate it with a very big round of applause. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you very much. His CV is very intimidating, fellow of several professional bodies, but since I'm not going to swear him into any office today, I would reduce the CV. You know, when once you bring down the CV, you now invite the person to come and take a bow. Sir Charles, please just take a bow, sir. Onward promotion. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you very much. You may assume your seat. The man seated next to him is a very creative gentleman. If you give him this microphone, he could be an artist, he could be a musician, he could be a culture ambassador, he could be anything he wants to be at any point in time. Sports and otherwise, excellently, absolutely very creative. And that is why he has gone through the rungs of leadership in life. And even in the government in Akwa Ibom State, we have been great beneficiaries of his creative interpretations of successive administrations in this state. A man in tune with the grassroots. When you are a local government chairman or you head any of the units, especially in the Oro Nation, you will know that you are in tune with the people. That is not a small terrain to manage and to govern in peace. Former Commissioner for Transportation, that's another very difficult terrain to cope with. But this gentleman does it with a lot of style, with a lot of candor. Can we please appreciate our current Commissioner for Tourism in Akwa Ibom State, the Right Honorable Umo Eno, with a very, very distinguished round of applause. Thank you very much. We welcome you in a very special way. Let me pause a little on that table. I still have two wonderful friends right there. And move over to a man who is benefiting more. Ever since aviation fuel became more costly, people have opted more for land transportation. This gentleman is one very, very amazing man. You see, it is nearly impossible in this part of the world to have seen someone who has done business consistently for decades. This gentleman here has set himself completely apart in conquering several industries. He's moved from just transportation to construction to oil and gas to every sector where you can find value and money. And anytime you see him, you will know that money smells all over him. Ladies and gentlemen, the MD in Sig Motors and very astute leader and politician, Mr. Sik and Johnny, has joined us. So please can we appreciate him once again with a very, very big round of applause. Thank you very, very much. We welcome you, sir. Thank you very much for coming. And we are hopeful to also share in your expertise and in your wider range of knowledge. You see, there's something about practicality. Everything is not money. If I were to give you 60 million now, share 60 million to each person here, and then I come back sometime in December, some people may not have even the 60 million to return. It's possible. In fact, chances are that more than half of the people here will not be able to generate that 60 million. They may not have any business currently running on that money. Some may run through a few child dedications. That will be time to marry and say a few things in place. Others may just retire away the money. The world of business is a crazy and risky terrain. So when we have people who have made it and who have been able to survive all the hazards of the business world, imagine the number of AKTC vehicles that are currently on the road. And one man is seated here very calm, navigating and managing. He knows where all the buses are and which driver has gone off the route. He has the mechanism to monitor all the drivers, because it's possible for someone to load Calabar and end up in Port Harcourt or somewhere in Kano. This man here can tell you where every vehicle is currently on and which driver is currently overspeeding as you speak. So when you find people who have been able to navigate the world of business, and every day you find new bosses, and you wonder how did the other transport companies fold up, and then this one is still doing well. Doing so well that I think it deserves a better round of applause. You know someone who has done well by the amount of people who try to copy the person. He has done so well that many other transport companies either try to make their name closer to AKTC or have the color very close so that they can also leverage. Because outside of Akwa Ibom, people may not be able to say, Akwa Ibom Transport Service is different from Akwa Ibom Transport Company. Once they see that color and the name, they say Akwa Ibom Orange. Okay, pass. So he has been able to couch that niche for himself and manage that business. I'm sure he will tell us some of the secrets of how he gets those things. It's not money. So when you find people who have done things excellently well, please can we appreciate him once again with a very, very big round of applause. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, still recognizing the wonderful people, I love to begin with the ladies. So let me get back to that table and now recognize this very special lady, so that women can allow me to go home very safely today. A great fashion or exponent in this part of the state, one who has been able to build a brand. You see, one thing you have to know about branding is that people buy the name. It's not easy to get the name. Why do you buy Milo? Why do you buy Pick? Is it that you have ever seen how those things are produced? Or are they necessarily the brands that are sweeter or better? People buy them because you are sure of the brand. You are sure of the quality. That is why St. Louis, that sugar, they are the most arrogant product brand I've ever seen in the world. Over 50 years. They have not changed the pack. I have never seen an advert from that company. Completely, totally arrogant. Irrespective of the competition, they don't care. One color, one logo, one brand, one size, same sugar, more than 50 years. It shows you how much branding is special. So when I see people who have been able to build a name, because most times people buy the name, the difference between Coke at Ibom Plaza and Coke at 5 Star is the brand. And maybe the environment or whatever you call it, but it is that name. So the higher you go, you begin to buy names. And people buy them for different reasons. So this great lady that I'm especially recognizing has built one of such very strong names. A name to be reckoned with not only in Akwa Ibom State, someone who has won several international awards and who has risen to the peak of that profession. There are tailors and there are tailors. There are seamstresses, there are seamstresses. There are fashion designers and there are fashion designers. But when you've seen one who has built a business of over decades and has continued to sustain that business in a very amiable way, can we please appreciate MD House of Bora, Mrs. Ifeoma Anthony, in a very special way. Let's give her a resounding round of applause. Thank you very much. You know, my feet are not strong enough to make these recognitions. I just try to muzzle around, like my father-in-law who is seated here. You know, anybody from Surubium now automatically is my father-in-law. And I try to be very careful because power is moving over to Surubium. So they either get your wife from you or do more dangerous things. So anywhere I see Surubium people, I greet them with both hands. I know that my destinies are tied to them in a very, very special ways. So recognize former chairman of Surubium local government area, the Honorable Otto Bongwe Demidion, in a very special way. I most welcome. Thank you very much. And so let me yield the floor now to the idea exponent of this very special masterclass, and a man of creative splendor, ladies and gentlemen, to chart the way forward and take us to the next level on this program, and of course, bring on our other special guests that are gathered here. Let me especially recognize Sir Charles Udor and invite him to this microphone. Can we appreciate him with a very, very big round of applause? That applause is not befitting enough. Can we do better, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much and welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. So, Kimba took us on a lecture that I almost yielded the floor to him to continue. I think this is better. That might be better. Hello? Thank you. I almost yielded the floor to him to continue. But I was given this task by members of Umo Eno to lead this discussion. And I couldn't say no for obvious reasons. If I said no, they would throw me under the bus. But before I continue, I think there are few gentlemen in our midst that were not mentioned. I think to also set the tone properly. Everyone seated on either side is an executive member of Umo Eno. The Commissioner for Culture and Tourism is the Director of Contact and Mobilization. Sam is our consultant. Sam and Mike are our consultants. In these days when foreign countries hire Africans to play football for them, we also have our Lagos friends. So they are our Lagos friends. Of course, the others she is the head of new media. Our distinguished former House member is in charge, is the senatorial leader for Eket Senatorial District. And then to my right is the senatorial leader for Uyo. And then of course, the big man himself, you already know. I have the honor to be with you this morning, this afternoon.
Yes.
Can you see at the back?
You have to turn this off. Turn off.
Yes, it's light.
It's better.
All right. It's clear?
Yes.
Oh, well, I was given an assignment to lead this discussion today, and so many things ran through my head. First was, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say that won't sound like a lecture? Because the whole idea is not a lecture. The whole idea is to share experience. The whole idea is to share knowledge. The whole idea is to trigger some things in you, to reawaken a new spirit in you. A friend of mine, a former colleague when Chitipan came to Uyo, I invited him for a weekend one day. And we were driving through the streets of Uyo. And I was coming up with information. So I was busy sharpening my mouth. Look, see what we've done, showing him everywhere. And when we finished, we got to one joint to share a few points of understanding. He looked at me and said, you guys, your people are poor. It shocked me. I said, first I was going to take offense. But he said, no, boy, calm down. Now we will now. And I said, why do you say this? He said, look, fantastic infrastructure. And I had to tell him where we are coming from and then where we are moving our people from. I had to also tell him that, look, for so many years, Akwa Ibom had been a geographical location where you only see the map. You had no business going there. Of course, the current government and government's immediate government had come and tried to change that narrative. And today, by the grace of God, Akwa Ibom is a preferred destination. Akwa Ibom is one place that we look forward to. But it doesn't start and end there. The unfortunate situation is that people have come. And like I tell people around, I said, look, if you are not careful, what has happened to the typical Lagosian will happen to Akwa Ibom. Where the other of my village will be coming from somewhere to administer a village. Because our people are not moving forward. Our generation has been so much where every young man who graduates or every young girl who graduates from school is aspiring for two things. Either to get a job in civil service or to get into politics. True or false? True. And then, so when you do that, you go, I drive through the streets of Uyo and I look around. And I ask myself, who owns the supermarkets here? The bulk of the supermarkets here. Who owns the bulk of the supermarkets here? Does that send a signal? Now, you also look around. I'm Catholic. Okay, and in Catholic we have several masses every day. Please, can you tell those guys to close the door? We have several church sessions in a day. And we start from 6 a.m. Correct me if I'm wrong. The bulk of people who attend 6 a.m. mass in Uyo are non-indigenous.
Yes.
Of course.
True.
True.
Bulk of them. Because you know what? They come quickly attend the mass and go back to them. So where are people? And when I came in here, when God brought me here in 2016 to serve, something struck me, which I had to brand, called the Yempodno culture. Say, come here, Yempodno. And a particular young man came to my office, I think my first 1 week, well dressed, and coming from bank, customer service is number one. So I laughed into the madman, I smiled with the madman. He said, if I have money, some of those mechanics look like madmen. So you have to smile. And so this fine gentleman came to my office, and I welcomed him, sat down, offered him coffee, and he was like, Commissioner, I came to tell you that my wife is 6 months pregnant. First I was shocked. I was like, okay. So he looked at me again. You don't understand. I said, my wife is 6 months pregnant. So I said, okay, sorry, sir. How does that concern me? At that point, the guy started laughing. He said, Commissioner, I'm from Uyo. And you are commissioner representing Uyo. I said, okay. Okay, so now, so where is the relationship here? He said, Commissioner, I came to give you advance notice that my wife is 6 months pregnant and she's going to give birth. You know, it took some time for me to process that scenario. In my head, 6 months pregnant, me, how? What's my role? Okay, Commissioner, how? You know, but God spoke through me. And I asked him, okay, you know what to do? Since she's 6 months pregnant, she'll soon give birth. You know, I wasn't here when she got pregnant. He said, yes, just as well. So what do we do? This one, I manage. Next one, invite me to join. Then I'll prepare for it. The guy looked at me. And so when this mantle fell on me to lead this discussion, I had a torrid time thinking of what to say. I didn't also want to talk about branding. I didn't want to talk about marketing. I didn't want to talk about anything that sounded theoretical. I wanted something as practical as possible that we can all resonate with. I wanted something as real, as closer to us as we can touch and feel. And so thinking about a topic to speak on became talk about something, which is what I'm going to talk about. So I said, and you know, it was as if Pimba had as if Pimba peeped into my thoughts. When we talk about Mposo, the capital liver, Mposo, Pimba, and if you go around the streets, you talk to 1,001 people, a trailer load of excuses. And so I decided that I was going to talk about what's my excuse. What's my excuse? What's your excuse? And so the topic today is what's your excuse. Now let's look at this picture. Can you see it? What can you see? Can you see? So what do you think? Okay. Risk? Okay, any other? Getting what he wants. Very good. Now it would have been easy for that guy to say, babe, that place is too far. I'll fall down. And the guy was like, look, we die here. We die here, look at it. We die here, we must get here. Now when I saw this image, it triggered a lot of things in my head. And look, if it is just for kids is expensive. The guy has to do this. Then what's my excuse? What's your excuse? And so I thought I needed to tickle your imagination on this. No, I think it's laptop that is hanging. Village. Don't mind the laptop. Go ahead, sorry. That's why the evidence crashed. And so I asked myself, let's put it in context. For me, excuse is simply a few things highlighted there. It has to do with psychological defense, it has to do with emotion, it has to do with effect. They're trying to substitute. So I thought I needed to define excuse the way I think, the way I see. Do we agree? But again, in trying to put this together, like I said, I didn't want this to be, I'm not a professor. I don't have a PhD, I don't intend to go to school, it's too late. But I thought I needed to use practical examples. I wake up every morning as a human being from my experiences. I went to Lagos as a youth corps. I arrived in Lagos. My first night in Lagos, I went in a night bus. And then when I got to Ujo, if you know how Lagos is, you know, a village Uyo boy, seeing flyover, I was mesmerized. Okay? And then I asked, how do I get to orientation camp? They told me that, okay, I have to take a bus from Ujo to Mile 2, from Mile 2 to Ijanikin. So I took the bus. Nobody told me that, you walk around anytime. So I entered the bus, heading to Mile 2. Okay, early hours of the morning. Unfortunately for me, the bus broke down at the place I will never forget, Bega bus stop. And so something shockingly happened. Everybody inside the bus disappeared. Driver, conductor, everybody left. So I was alone. I was like, what? So this is how you're going to get lost in somebody's land. But the only consolation I had was that then I was very fit. I could run. So anybody that comes to attack me, I could run faster than him. So, but I knew that I had to also hide. So I went into an uncompleted area and stayed there for some time until it was daybreak. And then daybreak off, I went to Ujo. Sorry, I went to Ijanikin. Why am I telling this story? I'm trying to set the tone. And then I landed from then on to NYC. I didn't know anybody. So I had to struggle from there, got into rent, got a house to squat, and then got a job. One thing that I can tell you today was I didn't know anybody. So if a car had knocked me down, okay, if somebody had kidnapped me, there were no telephones, so I would have disappeared from the face of the earth. Okay? The one thing was in my head. And look, oh boy, you've landed this Lagos, you've seen this flyover, you're not going back to the village. That the guys who succeed here don't have two heads. And so I kicked all the excuses in my head out. And so coming back here, one of the things that keeps me going is the fact that the experiences I've garnered, how do I share with others? How do I pass it on? How do I also motivate you? How do I also tell you that it is possible? How do I also tell you that, look, you can also rise up to become somebody. You don't need to know anybody. But few things matter to me. Once you trust God, your hands are clean, your heart is clean, trust me, the way the opportunity will come. It might take some time. One of the things I've also learned in my life is that sometimes you want a pair of shoes, beautiful blue shoes. Sorry, God is looking at you. God has a gold-plated shoe for you. Okay, God denies you the blue, you go home and sock and say, what kind of life is this one? Then God gives you something better. So, I look around me every day and I ask, how do I better my life? How do I improve others? And a few people have stood out in that process. This guy here, you know this man? That young man, Thomas Sankara. Fantastic young man, coup plodder he may have been, okay, not democratic, but he made a transformational change in his country, and his country cannot forget it. And so when I'm watching YouTube, sometimes before I go to bed, I go through his life history, I get inspired, and when I look, that was somebody making. So why can't I make a change? He defied all odds. Can you recognize this man? I'm sure you. Anybody, a gift for whoever can recognize that man. That is the president of Gabon, Ali Bongo. His story is very intriguing because he was abandoned by his parents and he found himself in an orphanage. And then Omar Bongo needed a son and went to the orphanage and looked around and picked him, adopted him. You understand? From all the people there, he picked him and he became his son and successor. Yes, he may have picked him, but he had something to do. If he had picked him and he feels like, look, I have arrived, God's time is best, has entered my life. He never improved himself. Do you think he would have been president? So when I read his stories, I watch his movies about him, I get inspired. And look, in whatever situation you find yourself, when you trust God, God will lift you. And then this, we all know this one. All of us have him around us. I have him in my pocket. When he was born, his parents had a dream. They wanted him to have a very successful life. Because his parents were not rich. Biological parents, were not rich. They put him up for adoption in an orphanage. And then several families came to want to adopt him. Okay, the parents said no. They had set a criteria of who can adopt their son. And then a wealthy family came, wanted to adopt him, that the parents had agreed. But when the family saw him, they felt no, they wanted a girl, so they left him. And then an average family came and adopted him, convinced the parents that okay, they'll try their best, took him, put him in school, best school, like the biological parents had said. Halfway through, the economy hit the rocks. And what happened? He dropped out of school and started dropping in. He founded Apple Computers. He was fired from his own company. Can you imagine setting up a company and then you get fired from your company? What would you do? The blood will flow a few heads in the road. But not Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs went back, set up another company that was so successful that Apple now wanted to buy them. He said no, that he would buy Apple instead. And for him to get back into Apple, he would be MD CEO of Apple. So he fought against his failure and came back to do what he's done. Unfortunately, he's done. Now this, I won't say so much. As we go on, I'll talk about this one. Same with this one. And then this one, this guy here, I'll talk about him more, so I won't spend too much time with him. This guy inspires me every day. This guy makes me feel that, look, there were times when I was here, when I was Commissioner for Information, that I used to ask myself, what am I doing here? There are times I still ask myself, what am I doing? I never thought I'd be here. But God had a plan that brought me here. So we'll talk about this guy in details. Now there's another one. I'm sure you know this. Yes. Who is this? From the rubbles of genocide. If you've been to Rwanda, I never reckoned with him until I think April 2016, a few months before I came back to Akwa Ibom. I went to Rwanda. When I got to Rwanda, on that trip, we were preparing to go. I was like, my husband, Rwanda, what airline are you guys going to fly? So I had to lie to my wife that we're going to go with South African Air. Because in her head, Rwanda, poor country, genocide, so their aircraft would be like Molue. I also thought so too. And especially, before then, I had just come back from Sierra Leone. And I told that experience of me flying in a helicopter that I could see through, flying across the ocean. And they were like, are you sure? But because my friend said, oh, let's go on that weekend to Rwanda, I said, okay, let's go. And when we got to the airport, and we were back boarding, We boarded. When I got into the aircraft, I was shocked. It was Rwanda Air. Brand new, still had nylon on it. I had to do a selfie to my wife that, sorry, my wife, I lied. I'm inside Rwanda. She screamed, what nonsense? Get out of that place. I said, no, just look around the place. It's brand new. Say, are you sure? It's a lie. Let's see the headrest. I had to convince her. So that was my first shock. Then landed Rwanda. You know, boys will always be boys. One of our friends, the former governor, was the sitting governor there. We went out to a nightclub to have a drink and all that. And then he lost his phone, an iPhone. And we all thought, oh, the phone done lost. And he reported to the owner of the lounge. And the guy said, don't worry. As long as you put on that phone here, we will find it. Give us 72 hours. In 72 hours, they found the phone. And they brought it back. And we spent 1 week in Rwanda. Lights did not blink one day. When I see electricity, there was no power outage one day. We went out on the street strolling in a group of 4 of us, and before we got very far, the security rounded us up. They asked us, decent guys, they asked us to show their papers, they allowed us. Now, the most, I'm looking for the right words now, the one that struck me also was the Genocide Museum. I wish Nigeria had a Biafra museum, a war museum. Nobody, no young man will go to the internet and want to go to war. Now, we spend 1 hour, 30 minutes there. It tells you everything that happened. And no Rwandese would ever want to go that route again because there's history to preserve. And so I dropped my hat to him. And then, of course, we know him. I'll also tell you a story about him later. And then finally, I'm sure we know, oh no, I'm sure we all know him.
Absolutely.
Now his story is one that also inspires me a lot. I'll tell you about him. My first encounter with him was in 2017. One day I was really, really upset. A lot of things had happened. Fimba, they were annoying me all over the place. And so, you know, and so in my head I was like, what am I doing here? I don't, what kind of wild is this one? How did I get myself into this kind of thing? And so, I think it was just the spirit. The evening that day, we had a church service, and all the pastors that came to me that day. So because I was commissioner for information, I had all their contacts. So I just said, okay, let me just send them text to say, please pray for me. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I think about 5 or 6 of them. So at 10:30 p.m., I sent the text. He didn't just answer, he called me. I was like, what is it? I was like, I just needed someone to talk to. And he prayed with me. And you know, when you are in that space, and then you find somebody who, of all the people you met, now it tells you about the character of the man. It tells you that this man truly cares about people. Forgetting who he is, forgetting how well he is, forgetting what position he is, when he reached out to someone's soul. Just like in the Bible. If you have 100 sheep, one goes missing, you leave them and look for one. He went after that. He told me a lot of things about him. And from then on, I began to study the life of that man. I began to look out. Not in my wildest imagination did I think that, oh, one day we'll be thinking, sitting here thinking he's going to be the next governor of Bible State. Way back 2017. One of the things that intrigued me about him was that he didn't call himself managing director of his company. He didn't call himself chairman of his company. He didn't call himself consultant. He didn't call himself anything. He called himself what? God. That is God talking, not him. Because no, if you ask him, I'm not sure even he himself, when he started that company in 1997, would have thought, would have dreamt, would have felt, would have imagined, would have fantasized, go to me English, that one day he will be at the brink of actualizing that prophecy. That was prophetic. And then another thing that intrigued me about him was that when he left, decided that, look, I've had enough of this offering work. Okay, I've had enough of this ability to apply. I want to be my own boss. The natural instinct would have been Lagos, where he grew up, or Abuja, where there are opportunities. But when you come into Abuja, it would have been Uyo. There was no good road. There was no road. Now he went there. Trust me, he told me about a man with character, a man with conviction, a man who believes that, look, I can turn stone into bread. And then of course he went in that direction, and as he had presented 5 goals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have you been? 1 man. Now, if somebody had told me in 1997 that the business of fighting would become where we are, just one of the arms of that business, we have imagined, especially being an acquired person. Having a business is a get, not to do, not to put that down to the girls. Now we wake up every morning and we look at ourselves, a lot of things not going on. That's like our right. So we'll still talk about each of these persons as we go over here. But you see, I'm also very proud that they are here because this man gave us that platform. We are here because somebody, an acquired moment, sir, man, for you to rise up to any level. I work in the bank, not 1, not 2, not 3. For you to become whatever I became, it means you must be at least 10 times better than the other person from the majority area. Fact. Sure. You must be at least, Mike knows, you must be at least 10 times better than him. And when you get the job, trust me, you must work 20 times better than any other person, otherwise they'll kick you out. Otherwise they'll kick you out. I lived in Lagos in 1980. I don't speak Yoruba, I don't understand. I understand small. And when it's convenient for me, I want to talk to Sam. But you know why? It wasn't deliberate. When something happened that triggered my rebellion, I became rebellious. The reason I became rebellious was that the persona of an acquired mind before today was one short, scruffy man that speaks in a funny language. True or false? The acquired man was looked at as the house girl, house boy, cleaner, a cook. That was the definition of the acquired man. So the acquired man was not seen as a tall, clean guy. Acquired man was seen. So being lucky to be seen by people and they picked me because I worked hard and all that and God gave me the grace. So sitting in an office where people walk in and they see, I can't answer. My first graduate is rebellion, what nonsense. And the guy was like, what are you saying? I mean, what are you saying? So I forced everybody in and around me to understand Abadi and them to Messi. Because when you speak to me in Yoruba, I speak to you in Yoruba. You know what that did for me? I became an endangered species. Yes, it means they must get this intruder out. You know when you go to House of Assembly, they call it strangers. The strangers have come. Okay? It meant that I had to work harder, longer than them to stay. And I meant I had to make myself more relevant than anyone else to survive. I didn't make excuses. So, I'm not here to tell you that I understand your pain, because you don't understand mine. You know, one day, I jokingly, I wanted to feel what it was to wear high heels. So I wore my wife's heel. You know, from that day I said, Madam, I bow for you. I was dancing as Ondo. And then by the time I took 5 steps, my ankle, my knee, everything. Oh no. And I was like, so you guys survive, you even dance with it, even run with it. I said, God of Israel, I help you, thank you. So I don't understand your pain. Okay? I'm not here to tell you that I understand why I'm tall or why the next man is short. I'm not here to tell you that I understand why you're fair or dark. No, sorry. You know, as a young man, they used to abuse me. I have big nose. Initially, I used to cry. I was like, oh, I said, child, I used to cry. But after what I want to do, I have big nose, so because God has blessed me, so I draw in more oxygen. Yes, I draw in more oxygen. So I turn into job. So no problem. That's my own way endowment. God has given me that, so I take it proudly. So I'm not here to tell you that. I'm not here to tell you that, look, I'm going to make you become overnight successful. No. Okay, the only thing I'm here to do is this. Tell you that there's hope. If I could land Lagos, okay, slept in an uncompleted building in 1989. Okay, the man that got me my job 6 months into my service year, okay, was the man who rejected me. Now I landed Lagos, I finished from University of Uyo. And guess what I studied? Can anybody get it? Fine arts. I studied fine arts to draw. But you know what? The day I told my father that, oh, my father asked me, that would so you know. Anybody who doesn't understand? That would say you know was someone to fine arts. You know why? Because there was a Ghanaian teacher who lived with us in one fine art teacher. And so he was doing craft, he was making a lot of people used to come buy those. So I used to enjoy it. He was as a friend. I enjoyed it. So for me, I wanted to be like that man, Mr. Philip Ebese. And when I told my father I wanted to be a fine artist, you know what my father told me? My father called my mom, the man. You know what I want to means? Many years ago, the only place you had sculpture was on So everybody who died in the Bible wanted to do tombstone in that man. So he was the most famous artist here. So he called my mom and said, man, you don't know. You know, it hurt me deeply. Because my father wanted us to maybe an engineer or something. But I left. I could have been demoralized. But you know, I took it as a challenge. I had to prove my father wrong. And so from that day, I started seeing myself not being a Nomodo. I told myself that anything that linked me with Nomodo, I will not be it. So I started looking at the typical artist. I started defining how I wanted to be. I started dreaming of being an artist that wears coat and tie, sitting in an air-conditioned office. So from year one in university, when my classmates are you paint all over me, I come dress in suit, they talk here. Okay? And that told me something. Well, that tells me something. Then I didn't know what it was. It means that when you dream of yourself being successful in the future, consciously and unconsciously, you're going to work towards it. You are going to also associate with people and look at things and role models that will lead you. If you dream of yourself as being a rock star, you're going to be mixing with this Abdul Karim and Naramani. That is the reality. So that gave me. And then guess what? In my year 3 in the university, I went to do industrial attachment in government printing press, Calabar. And that was when God opened my eyes that, oh look, that your dream of being an artist that sits in office is possible. I never knew an artist would work in a bank. I never even knew an artist would work anywhere else. I just thought I could just sit on Nodo and draw and paint. And there I found staff from Central Bank Training School talking about training aids. Those days there were no computers. There were no computers, so training aids, all these things you have to be good in graphics to draw and make them happen. So in my head I was like, okay, I can work in a bank and help them do this. And I started thinking along those lines. And I found myself there. So I'm here also to tell you that, look, it doesn't matter how you start. It's how you finish it. Do you watch marathon race? Okay? The guy who starts most of the time is not the guy who finishes on top. Okay? Now I'm here to tell you that whatever you are doing to, you can't achieve anything unless you try it. I remember in October 2020, one fine day, His Excellency the Governor called me and said, Charles, I want you to go to the Ministry of Environment. We have serious, we have enormous projects in that place. I want somebody that I can trust. You know, I didn't understand. I was like, what kind of wahala is this? The closest I've been to any environment was geography. And that was good. Maybe he saw me, he remembered my wife, I had 8 geography. So I was like, okay, let me go there now. Then I also remembered that environment, what kind of issues do you see? But because one thing came to my mind, I said, I want you to go there. And I believe in one thing. Sometimes you don't see the prospect in front of you, so other people see. The eye that sees not itself. Okay? But by reflection or by some other means. So I went. When I got there, I looked around. This one is geophysics, geoscientists, geodesics, all of them, the big titles in the ministry. I knew that they were going to wrap me around their little finger to twist me, and there will be things that are not right. So I told myself that, guy, for the first 3 months you are going to be an idiot. You are going to be very stupid. You are going to be a student. You are going to follow them. So I bought notebooks. Every day, I come and tell me what you do. They run down. You didn't buy anything. So as you are telling me, I'm taking you, I'm checking on my internet. So you can tell me, one of my guys telling me about EIA. So I was like, that's somebody. He said, no, he's a and she was so passionate about it. And she might have problem. So what do we do? He said, yes, Commissioner, I've been telling you, I'll come with your predecessor, they didn't listen to me. It's okay, man, I'm listening to you. They're telling me. He said, for every road we do, we must do this. For every building, I say, beautiful. Okay, so what does it mean? So as she was telling me, I was checking. I would decipher the ones that were true and the ones that were lies. Okay? So by the time she finished, she told me, so okay, how long does it take to do an EIA? He said, it will take 2 years. I said, madam, the tenure of a governor is 4 years. So the real one will take 2 years to do EIA. So how long would you be in the road for again to you? And the government would have finished. You know, he told me something, that there was a gap. Okay? Yes, she had an idea, but she was disconnected from reality. So in my head, I was like, okay, so how do I marry that disconnection and her knowledge? So what I also did was that I looked at my former colleagues, everybody I knew anywhere. I sent a message that, look, boy, see me where I do, who has ideas. So I have my computer, I have tons of ideas, tons of proposals, tons I read. So for 3 months I was a student. I never made any pronouncement. Whatever they tell me, I hear. Document to sign, I won't sign. No, I won't sign. I'll delay. I was a banker, so we don't sign documents in duress. So after I had learned, so I could decipher who knew his job, who didn't know. I could, for every person, I could profile all my main staff. So at the end of the month, the second quarter, by 4th month, call meeting Monday. Hey, so people have arrived. So that's the handover note you gave me. See what we are going to do. Say, no, I didn't know. Sorry, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And I gave directives and all that, so they were looking at me. And sometimes I tell them that, look, I can challenge you in your area. I remember when we started IBB, the design was that the casting was in situ. In situ means you cast on site. And so I looked at it. This is Project Management 101 that I learned as a consultant in 1990. So we don't have time. So we need to find a way. So the engineers stopped and thought we had meetings for 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, I had read, consulted everybody that I knew. I knew that the easiest way to deal with what? Precasting. Because it was raining. Okay, precasting means you take your time and do it and come and fix. So you under the railroad can still work. So I came to the meeting that day, the guy said, so that thing I said, he said, no, it won't work. I said, look, sorry, the bulb stops on my table. So my order is go from this point to this point, do a trial. I take responsibility. It was a risk because I'm not an engineer. So took the risk and they did it and it worked. That's why we succeeded. So I'm not going to tell you all that. I'm just going to give you hope. But before I do that, please pick up your pen, please, a pen and paper. Okay? Because I told you I was going to give you hope, so I'm going to take you first on a journey of self-discovery. Now, for all of you here, when I'm done, I'll give you my bank account and you credit me. Okay? Because I'm going to be like an oracle. Okay? Alright. So, it's an exercise. On that piece of paper, please number 1, 2, 3, 4 till 10. On straight line, vertical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 10. Because we are going to answer 10 questions. You know the beautiful thing here is, Expo doesn't work. I remember when we were doing logic. Humanity, no, logic, is it logic? Philosophy and logic. With that in pavilion, that was an open space. So one guy copied the thing. After copy, he wasn't checking which one was number 1, which one was number 2. So he finished, and the guy he copied had gone to submit his paper. He said, Charlie, I have the answer, but I don't know which is which. And then, of course, he had to this number. Okay, so this is a little exercise. It's going to take only 2 minutes, as fast as we can. Okay? It's going to be fun. Now, look at this. I told you I'm going to be an oracle. Okay, this answers truly, you answer the questions correctly, honestly and sincerely, you won't miss it. And you come back and thank me later. Okay? Now it's real. It's a real test given by major corporations in the world. Real. So I didn't manufacture it. It's tested and trusted. It's never failed. It will help you. What it does is it will help you get better insight. It will help you get better insight concerning you. Now, corporates all over the world use it for their employees. You know, the bank where I used to work, we employ our own staff. Nobody employs for you, so the boss stopped on your table. I remember a young man I was going to hire. When I was in one of the banks. Fantastic guy. And then I asked him, after all the questions, we shortlisted him, and then I asked him, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You know what that question means? All of us seated here. Do you have a plan, a dream of where you want to be in 5 years time? Written down. Don't lie. Don't know the lie. If you don't have it, please go to it. Then it will help you, it becomes a signpost. Now I asked this guy, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he said, okay, hey, this is a yearly bank. If in 5 years after they promote me to SBO, I'll be happy. Meanwhile, I was a BO. You know what BO means? BO means banking officer. And so in my head, it was like, look, 5 years you want one promotion. You don't have the fire in your belly, sir. I asked him again, said, okay, I'm very happy. In fact, I work very hard. I'm very happy. I didn't hire him. No, I didn't hire him. And then anybody tell me? No ambition. NFA. Because if I hire you, no ambition, you can't help me progress. I was trained to hire the brightest and best. I was trained to hire people that are better than me, to challenge me, to learn. That's the only way I'm going to learn. If I hire the guys that, well done, sir, well done, sir, it means my mental capacity is retarded. So I didn't hire him. So, now it's only 10 simple questions. The answers, like I said, will tell you who you are. Alright, are we ready? Yeah. Alright. Question 1. Now what you do, simply when you just take, is it A, B, C? Just use the way it is, I think it's the computer thing, it should A, B, C. Just put A. If it's morning, say A. If it's evening, say B. Sorry, if it's this, say B. If it's late night, say C. Okay? You got it? Yes. Alright. You just use it, not A, B, C, D, and all that. And then 2. It sounds somehow. You usually walk fast. So this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D, this is E. Okay? Done? So if it is this, use A, this use B, this use C, this use D, this use E. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
Would you please read out the options?
Oh, you can't see. Oh, okay. You usually walk. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You usually walk fairly fast with long steps. You can relocate. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's go through it.
You usually walk with long steps, fairly fast with long steps. 1A. B. Fairly fast with short, quick steps. C. Less fast. Head up, looking the world in the face. D. Less fast, head down. E. Very slowly. Got it? Okay, 3. When talking to people. A. You stand with your arms folded. B. You have your hands clasped. C. You have one or both your hands on your hips. D. You touch or push the person to whom you are talking. And then of course, E. You play with your ear, touch your chin, or smooth your hair. Got it? Yeah. All right, 4. We're almost there. 6 more. When relaxing, you sit with A, your knees bent, with your legs neatly side by side. B, your legs crossed. C, your legs stretched out or straight. D, one leg curled under you. 5. I'm going to be very today, honestly. Especially the aspirants. Can we move? Next? Can we move? 5. When something really amuses you, you react with A big appreciative laugh, B, a laugh but not a loud one, C, a quiet chuckle, and then D, a sheepish smile.
Very wicked laugh.
Okay, 6. 6. When you go to a party or a social gathering, you make a loud entrance so everybody notices you, and maybe these are not loud. B, make a quiet entrance looking around for someone you know. C, make the quietest entrance trying to stay unnoticed. Got it? 7? Going? Alright. You are working very hard, concentrating hard, and you are interrupted. Do you welcome the break? Do you feel extremely irritated? Do you vary between these two extremes? Me, I chew bottle and break bottle.
Do you welcome the break?
8. Shall we? Okay, I read again. You are working very hard and concentrating hard. You are interrupted. Do you welcome the break? Do you feel extremely irritated? Do you vary between these two extremes?
Is do you A?
No, do you the question?
No. So do you not A? So this is not A.
Do you not the question?
It is not. So A is welcome the break. B is feel extremely with it. And C very between the two extremes. Got it? Yes. All right. 8, 22 more. Which of the following colors do you like most? A, red or orange. B, black. C, yellow or light blue. C, green. D, dark blue or purple. E, white. And then F, brown or gray. Got it?
A, you start from A.
A is red or orange. B is black. C, yellow or light blue. D is green. E is dark blue or purple. F is white. And then brown or gray. Next. Yes. All right. When you are in bed, in those last moments before going to sleep, and someone once asked me one day, and it depends on who you are with.
And what the last moment?
Now, the first one, you lie stretched on your back. B, stretched out face down on your stomach. C, on your side, slightly curled. D, with your head on one arm. And E, with your head under the covers. Last one. Should we move? Okay. You often dream that A, you are falling. B, fighting or struggling. C, searching for something or somebody. D, flying or floating. E, you usually have dreamless sleep. Of course. F, F, your dreams are always pleasant. For me, I don't dream unless I have malaria. So once I dream, I know that doctor, come. We got it? Yeah. All right, so we can move. Are we ready? All right, so answers. Why has this computer?
Maybe you have to point to the system.
No, it is. All right. Now see what you do. For question 1, if your choice was A, that means you scored 2 marks. So just put 2 marks. If your choice was B, see what I told you that you failed. So if you can choose B for question 1, that means you scored 4 points. For C, you scored 6 points. So please do that for all the numbers and then add up your scores. Can you see? Which one? Come closer. You can come closer. Since you can't see, come closer.
Okay, wait.
Come closer. You can
Look at the scores are there.
The scores are here.
If you did A for number 2, so just calculate it.
Quickly.
I just call it 2.
Please don't change your score. Just be as honest as possible. Yes. Please come.
Number 8. That 8 is
Okay,
that
let's
8. Yes, the 8.
8. Okay, let me read that out. 8. 8 is 4.
A is 4.
A is 6.
A is 6.
B is 7.
B is 7.
C is 5. D is 4. E is 3. F is 2. G is 1. That's number 8. Should I read again? Okay. Please come closer if you can't see. Quickly. So we can move. We see how the long one goes.
Go ahead. E is what?
For what number?
Number 8.
Number 8. E is 3.
No more.
Alright? Are we good? Yes, sir. Okay, please add up your scores. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Are we good?
No, not yet.
Okay. I told you no expo. You know, at the end of this event, there will be a raffle draw. And God's time is the best to enter somebody's life. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's see. Was had over 60. Show by little hand. Okay, 51 to 60. 2 people. Okay, so let me show you who you are. All right. Now others see you as. Can you read? Okay, what did I read? See, I said, for doing the life.
Others see you as
Microphone, please give me microphone.
It's time to know who you are.
Yeah.
Others see you as an exciting, highly volatile, rather impulsive personality. A natural leader who is quick to make decisions, though not always to right ones. They see you as a bold and adventuresome, someone who will try anything once, someone who takes chances and enjoys an adventure. They enjoy being in your company because of the excitement you radiate.
So does that connect with you? Good? Now let me tell you something. The only way this will not be accurate if you didn't answer the questions correctly. That's the only way it will be accurate. That is you.
That's how it is.
Oh, so, okay, thank you. All right. So 41 to 50.
Yes.
So you have class prefect. Is there a lady inside? Let the lady come and read. Lady, come and read.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, please. Okay. All right. So that is who you are. Microphone.
41, I did. 41, yeah.
Others see you as fresh.
One house.
Others see you as fresh, lively, charming, amusing, practical, and always interesting. Someone who's constantly in the center of attention, but sufficiently well balanced not to let it go to their head. They also see you as kind, considerate, and understanding. Someone who will always cheer them up and
So now you're all happy. Do you agree? I'm sending my account balance. Bank details.
41. Downward. The people that are down.
Okay, 31 to 40. 31 to 40. Okay. From the back, the lady come out and speak.
Where is this one going?
Sensible.
Others see you as sensible.
One house. This is 31 to 40.
Others see you as sensible, cautious, careful, and practical. They see you as clever, gifted, or talented, but modest. Not a person who makes friends too quickly or easily, but someone who's extremely loyal to friends. To friends you do make, and who expect the same loyalty in return. those who really get to know you realize it takes a lot to shake your trust in your friends, but equally that it takes you a long time to get over it if that trust is ever broken.
I'm not part of it. Okay, your friends see you as a painstaking and fuzzy. They see you as very cautious, extremely careful, a slow and steady plodder. It's really surprised them if you ever did something impulsive or on the spur of the moment, expecting you to examine everything carefully from every angle and then usually decide against it. They think this reaction is caused partly by your careful nature.
Well, there's nobody here. Okay? Then last one, under 21. Who would help? Okay?
People think you're shy, nervous, indecisive, someone who needs looking after, who always wants someone else to make the decisions, and who doesn't want to get involved with anyone or anything. They see you as a warrior who always sees problems that don't exist. Some people think you're boring. Only those who know you well know that you aren't.
You know what this tells us? There are 3 categories that we didn't have anybody. Now that clearly tells us the quality of people that signed in for this. Yeah. Others had seen it, they didn't look at it. It didn't mean anything to them. That's why you see that the carefully selected audience that we have here. Okay, so back to the main show. Okay, so welcome back from the journey of self-discovery. So when am I going to get my transfer? I'll end it here. Okay. All right, the mass solution says I should continue. Now, this is reality. Every morning when you wake up, you are confronted with 2 choices. Either you scrap yourself, wet day, dreamy day, rainy day.
Weather for
3, weather for 2. You know, one of the first choice you have. Okay, second choice is you wake up and chase your dreams. That guy who is so when I landed in Lagos and I slept inside an uncompleted building, I was fascinated by those flyovers. I told myself, the gods of our land will be angry if their sons will come back to the village. And you know, first time I tried using telephone, who dashed the telephone? Not these days. The only telephone I knew I ever saw in my life was the one at Pavilion in Umo Youth. That students who came from Lagos would go and call their parents. They put coin. They had nobody to call, so I didn't even bother going there. So this human landed Lagos. And during my youth service, I did, because I studied fine art, okay, I wanted to succeed. So during my service here, I was working part-time for an advertising agency. Then they were trying to set up, rebrand Nigeria Strippers Council. So I worked on that project. Because they didn't pay me, the company chopped my money and ran away. When it was welcome to Lagos, I was JJC. I did all the job and they said, don't worry, we'll call you, call us. So, of course, poor man, I was excited. I was going to use the telephone for the first time. So I found where there was telephone in Unilag. And it was in a guest house. So, you know, the normal thing you do is go and find out how it is being used. But you know, guy, you come back, how can I know you know how to use telephone? So I went and joined the queue with my cards in my pocket. Okay, everybody will go. After, when you pick up the phone, okay, put on your ear, you tap for dialing to the right. Is that all you have to do? Then you now start to dial. So I was memorizing the process. Okay, standard operational procedure. Yes, I was watching carefully. You know, when they say the story of Adam and Eve is real, Adam went to walk and Eve got confused by the snake. I got confused by one girl. She was in front of me in the queue. She wore a micro mini. in my head, I was like, okay, say, young man, now, that was, how old I was? That was 1990. See, in my head, life of a cat. So I was watching. So the poor girl got there. I think something had irritated her. So she picked up the handset. And then, of course, and then she was talking to herself. And then she dropped and walked away. She didn't die. Did you know the difference? The other guys will pick up, tap for dialing tone, and then dial and speak. She picked up, tap, and then dropped and walked away. So, because she became the key at that moment, I forgot all the processes I memorized. Process I remember. Okay, so it was time for me, the man from Uyo Copper, to pick up the thing. I won't know. And I put it up here. So I picked up the stuff, the telephone tap. Hello? 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 And I heard a voice. But you have not dialed the number now. Oh no, and I turned, there was another Eve behind me. And I said, hi, the son of man has embarrassed himself. So I ran. So I had to go and get somebody to teach me. The second experience I had that defined my life also. How many of us remember Savannah Bank? Yeah. Then, fresh, I finished youth service, started work at FITC. Then I couldn't afford because it was a financial institution, so we had to enter Bolue, go to Apapa Oshodi Expressway in Ilasamanja, stop at the express and run across the express to Taylor John. And Taylor John will sew and put shoulder pad. The shoulder pad will be here, and then the back will be like this. Then when you sweat, the ear will start to wrinkle. So we used to have stress that to keep it straight. So part of my job was marketing. Okay? Because I was a trainee, so I had to do everything. So I went to Savannah Bank building with my suit I had just made from Taylor John. So immediately I entered Savannah Bank building with my brochures to go and market. This man, the only movies I used to watch was Dracula and Hammer House of the Horror. And then we watched Enter the Dragon and Snake in the Monkey Shadows. So nobody told me there was a staircase that could move. So how will you step into the banking or feeling very cool with itself? And then my shirt, then the collar, this metal thing I used to put. Then I was wearing a Western wristwatch. And today I bought that Western wristwatch. After I had paid for it, I was leaving. The woman, I think you need this one. I said, what did you say you need it for the watch? Guess what it was? Ned It was supposed to be a gold watch, a Western. I said, you need it. So I didn't understand why. So grudgingly, I said, how much? I didn't know why I dashed you. So I went home. So I wore the watch proudly to work. Before I got to work, the wrist of my shirt was green. So I now understood, okay, that thing that man gave me. So I removed the watch and rinsed it. The gold had turned to white. Okay? So I was feeling very cool with myself. I bounced into Savannah Bank building. Today is today. Must market. Then suddenly a staircase was moving. I was busy admiring it. Then I remembered I had to go upstairs. So I said, okay, let me watch how they do it. So I went, everybody, in my head, I like, come on, now I'm fit now. 2 girls. These girls Eve. High heels. We know bankers, they wear micro mini, minimizing the mini. So, man, people, they were this thing, they took them up. So say, I'm me, I mean, cap me. So, I bounced towards it, with my brochure. Now I put my first leg up there. I forgot to leave it. So suddenly I was doing, then I remember suddenly I came back to realize, oh boy, this trouser will tear. what I should have done would have been to move this other moving back. So I made a fatal blunder. I lifted my standing leg. Man, come and see me flying. My brochures, everything was flying in the air. And then he took all the athleticism in me. Lucky if it's now, I would just smash my head and the thing would strangle me. Then I was still fit, I was still playing football every other day. So I somersaulted and landed with my tummy on the thing. So imagine with suit, he's carrying me. And then there was a fire alarm, bang, 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 bang. So at that point, the thing that was in my head was like, God of Israel, let this thing not use the tie to strangle me. So I was holding on to my tie, just putting my hand there, and then the thing deposited me on top. Then I came out and child. They had gathered, they said, oh sorry, are you okay? He said, yes, please, where's the way out? He said, I think the other one. I said, God forbid. God forbid. So they showed me the exit. But you know, I learned something from them. That wherever you are, sir, there's no stupid question. So you wake up, like I was saying, every morning you wake up, you have two options. Okay? One thing that has resonated in my life, and the life of the people I started with, is choices they made. Choices. Remember, my father said, okay, I won't know what I have solved. But I said, oh, okay, and then I won't know. Remember, I talked about a man who started a hotel with 5 rooms. He had a choice. He had a choice to go to Abuja. He had a choice. He had so many choices. Okay? So, your life is all about choices made. Now, your dreams and your destiny are not determined by chance. Choice, choice, choice. The shoe you wear, the clothes you wear, the phone you carry. It's all about choice, 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 choice. But here, sadly, most of us, those days are long gone. We are the ghosts of our former selves, captured, beaten by the ravages of stress from work and society. Some of us actually don't know what we want anymore. Has it happened to any of us? Like we wake up, we don't know what we want anymore. We feel frustrated. We're like, oh, what kind of life is this? Some of us think that as excuse. It's real. If you say it has never happened to you, then it's life. It happens. But see, it's not what happens to you that matters. Life is how you react. My father said I was going to be one older, and I reacted differently. But let me also shock you. I have a friend or a relative who were in primary school together, were in secondary school together, were in the same class. Primary 1, no, I did primary 2 because I did only 2 weeks in primary 1. Okay, so primary 2 to primary 5, and then secondary school. He was always ahead of me in class. But you know what? You know where he is today? Can anybody guess? Or what he does? He's in the village selling palm wine. Did you hear what I said? He is in the village selling palm wine. You know the difference? The difference was that when we took school set in 1982, we woke up, result came, WAEC and we held our results. And my father said, look, guy, you must go back and repeat. And that my relative said, Laila, you can never be in the same class with junior students. That is the difference. Choices. So he said, no, my father talked and he said, no, he will not. I went back. That is the difference. So today I'm standing here. He's the definitive saying, no, it's his choice. It's a choice you have to make. The life you have now is the result of his successful today, is choices you made. You went decided to go to school. We were in school of art and science with you when I came to do remedial. I didn't finish my story. We took GC in 82. Who I heard that result. Only 3 papers were released. I went back, 83. Took the same thing happened. Fact. So my father was saying enough is enough. Leave leave this school. So that's how I found that was the first time I came to live in Uyo, 1984, 83, 84. So I came to Uyo to do remedial School of Art and Science. Okay, and then that School of Art and Science, you know, boys will always, it was my first time having freedom. Now maybe this, I don't die, see my own. Where I remember in my room, hostel 4, room GD, were 16, was supposed to be 16 students, but I alone had 8 squatters. I alone, after 16 students, me alone had 8, so 8 plus 16 others. M2. So at night we push all the beds to one side and put my class on the floor. And then we had a gang, about 8 of us that we used to go together. 2 of those are my friends. Their parents were very rich. Their parents had some of the biggest, those were days when acquirements were entrepreneurial. Those are the days, those days will come back. Yeah. God willing, from May 29, 2023. Amen. Those were days in Yaite, Utu. They used to be acquirements, only supermarkets, only transport companies. These days only have some motors. Those are the days that we hope that will come back from May 29, 2023. And now, so the guys were rich. Hey, this guy, the only thing I had was that I was a guy. I used to play football, so I was popular. Okay? So when they want to go, when they bring money, they have money. So we'll go out, they say, let's go, Bobo. They used to call me Bobo. So we'll go, we'll carry young again, we'll follow us to Baya Polytechnic. Who knows the Baya Polytechnic? It's a dog meat joint. It was a Baya Polytechnic, Unitor. This place called University of Dogs. You see there. And then we used to go to Triangle, the peaceful hotel on the bar road. So we used to go there to drink and wine. But you know, in the midst of all that drama, I'll tell them, guy, you need to go and do assignments. You need to go and attend lectures. I remember some of them said, work and they don't worry, when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. And I said, sorry, boy. You see this drink beer we are drinking? If you don't get that meal ticket, sir, 20 years from now, we'll struggle to drink this beer. You see this babes we are carrying? If we don't get the meal ticket, 20 years from now, those babes won't talk to us. And even the ones that talk to us, okay, they'll treat us like outcasts. But trust me, sir, if you get that meal ticket, you'll be drinking champagne. Beer will be like snap. Those babes we are thinking are beauty queens who will be like popular wear. Okay? And we talked, only 3 people, only 2 other people listened to me. And so we went through, we took our WAEC again. I had my papers, the 2 other guys had their papers. The other guys all terminated their academic career at that point. 3 of us, 1 of them is standing here. 1 of them is a Major General. 1 of them is Permanent Secretary, Minister of Trade and Investment. Wow. And then, when I was appointed commissioner in 2016, our leader, our really Bobo, them came to me. Bobo, thank God, God has brought you. We must reconnect. I said, okay, so how do I help? He said, I need a job. I said, what can you do? He said, he now scratched his head. He said, do you have a driver? So I said, sorry, what did you say? Did you have a driver? I said, no. Can I be a driver? And I said, you're running now. How? I know which account now. How? Do you understand what I mean? From being a leader, the bigger boy who's got the biggest babes in school. Choices. You can't turn back the hands of the clock. So this is your chance. You can decide to move forward. Now choices you make today will either make you rejoice tomorrow or regret forever. And lament and blame the next person for where you are. You only have yourself to blame. In the dark closet of your room. You know these guys? Yeah. Who is this? And who is this? Fantastic. Can anybody tell me the story of those 2 guys? Now this young man here was my teammate, probably the most skillful Nigerian footballer ever. Absolutely. Most productive ever. Most talented ever. This guy is not in sports. Then they didn't grade state. I was playing for Calabar, he was playing for Oran. We beat Oran 6-1. Okay, I was playing the defense, but that guy was a terror. We used to kick and beat him. Yes, that guy. Okay? Very skillful. He became the most successful of all of us that used to play football. I didn't want to, I couldn't go football that. Okay? And you know what? Where is he today? Someone on him one day Metropolitan Hotel in Calabar. I said, oh, well, how can you, when to Belgium, you know where you're coming from? That follow what Stephen Keshi. Do you know Stephen Keshi? Stephen Keshi was a footballer also. Stephen Keshi found his way to Belgium. You know what he did? He went back to Benin City. Anybody who could kick football, he found a way to take them to Belgium. Anybody and everybody. And this guy told him, look, come back home and take Friday, Christopher Eden. Christopher Eden is late now. Come back, you're in a strange land. May the syndrome of the Akwa Ibom man of the past. When I went to Lagos, Akwa Ibom who were in Lagos then, when they were in position, they wouldn't want any Akwa Ibom to come near them. They only hire your driver. Fact, you hire your cleaner. Okay? And so when you ran into trouble, he had no help. Keshi died a rich man after he retired. Not from his money, from poor people. He's living in Nigeria. Who knows God Nopara? God Nopara was actually convicted for rape. Sent when he came out. You need to also provide the shoulders for others to climb. Okay? You need to. I'm standing here today not because I'm smarter and brighter than anyone else. Because people get. That's why all of us here have left their businesses. Okay, that is the Dangote of Mitrubio. He's left his business to sit here because he wants to also give you that shoulder to climb on. He wants to make you believe that it is possible. Don't let anybody deceive you. The word impossible is only in your mind, not in reality. I believe that you can attain anything in life. Act on it and persevere to achieve regardless of hindrance. Once again, it's about what? Team just signed it. The Arsenal is the only team in the world that has Mohammed and so we have balanced. Next season, everybody is in trouble. You know when this picture was taken? This picture was taken in 2014. 2014. He was painting the streets. Could have given up. He said, this life, we know, nobody's giving me joy. No, my counselor doesn't even pick my call. And that commission is a stupid man. No job. No job. You know what? The guy had a focus. Okay? The guy had aspirations. Like I told you, that the man in whose honor we are here had a dream in 1997. He's employing over 2,500 people. So I'm a man. 2,500 every month. You pay, you can put food on 2,500 people. Table. There's a difference between somebody. Can you buy the battery? Can you maintain the car? That is not about. That's making you poorer. It's making you poorer. It's making you poorer. Do you understand? But any person who puts you in a position where you can buy a car yourself, that is the real empowerment you're talking about. Still talking about choice. What are you trying to accomplish in your life? What do you want to attain? Your choice, your direct control. Sir, I wanted to be an artist with a difference. My father thought I was a and I said, sorry. I remember one time my father was harassing me, this man. My father, God bless you, so fantastic man. But you know, my father taught me several lessons. He was my motivator. Because when my father died, I struggled to pick up my motivation. So my uncles, I have an uncle who is a medical doctor, I have one who is a reverend father, I have one who is an engineer. So my father would pay their school fees first because my father was the eldest son. Okay, my grandfather died when my father was in year 3 in university. And my father was the eldest son, he trained everybody. Our house used to be like a football field. All kinds of people. You know, yesterday, we were talking in a meeting, right? And we might do that. Now, body on that, the world. Now, what? We go, no, why then? If we share, no, give you understand? You know, I remember as a young man there, I said to myself, when I was so upset, in 1977, my mother was part of the delegation of a Cross River State then, in Southeast State, with First Act 77. And she came back with a yellow t-shirt that had the First Act template. I loved it. I begged my mom to give me. My mom promised she would give me. And my father gave no nonsense. His brother who wanted to be a medical doctor gave it to me. I don't remember. Ross, you don't come and disrupt my flow. No. Now, my father gave it to my uncle. I was paid. You know what I told myself? Can you guess what I told myself? I told myself that, look, one day in my life I'll pay my uncle's salary. Sounds arrogant. Does it? Sounds, I didn't tell him this way, so it was inside me. I look, this my uncle, I'll pay a salary. From being this artist, so I decided to work longer and harder than everyone else. Even when I was working in the bank, I was still doing my art. I was well paid. Fantastic salary, $100 salary. Telephone number. Hey, I just wanted to do that. You know what? My most fulfilling day was there. I was able to do that, buy my own car. Not as a politician. Didn't send it on my bill. How many of us have read that? Excellent. I'm telling you to round up. We haven't even started. So let's quickly move on. So what drives you? Now, after all said and done, what drives you? What defines the entire you? There are 3 questions I want you to answer. You may not answer now. In your private time, if you can't answer these 3 questions, then it's a problem. See what I said? If you can't answer these 3 questions, I'm saying you are disabled. What drives you? You must know what drives you. You must know what defines you. You must know what you are living for. I wake up every morning, my passion is to share the little I have with the next person. I may not have the money to share with you with knowledge and ideas. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who are not aware of the purpose they exist. You can remember the days where you had beautiful dreams. Now, do you believe my governor, the governor of Akwa Ibom says every time, everything is possible. If one passion is right, this guy clearly exemplifies that. That's him. Ronaldo. When he was doing that, he said he wanted to be the best footballer in the world. So he's worked long and hard enough to be there. So the essence of this is to encourage all of us to truly believe that we are created in God's image. We're given the divine right to the abundance. The only limits we have are those you have put on yourselves. The only limits you have, those you put on yourself. You would have said, oh look, this man didn't help me. So excuses, 1,001 excuses. So I won't spend too much time on that. Let's quickly move. Where is that? So if you find yourself there, how would you feel? But somebody found himself here. Somebody found himself here. Okay? By divine arrangement. That he rose from that rubble. You understand? He rose from that rubble to create this edifice we are staying in. So when they tell you that, oh, we know, but they lie, sir. They lie. All you need is in you. If you are determined to walk long hard enough, look around the opportunities, sir. There are opportunities everywhere. Opportunities everywhere. It depends on you. You. Opportunity comes to those who are prepared, sir. Don't let anybody tell you. If you are not prepared, the opportunity will pass you by. If you cannot manage a kiosk, you can't manage a supermarket. So when you are given a kiosk to manage, when I joined the bank, I was baked to join the bank. I did shakara. I was in my office one day, they called me, hey, the man who took me to the bank, he was a former minister, hey, I want you to come and join First Bank. And I was like, please give me, I'm not interested. They said, no, I don't care. Take your time. I want you to go, I'm not asking you, I want you to come and join. So I said, why me? He said, I've been watching you for 3 years. 3 years, the man was watching me. I see the passion, I see the energy, I see everything you put to the job. And I told myself, today I need somebody like you, it's you, or no other person. It took my wife to fly come from Lagos to tell my father that this, their son, does not want to join back. And my father called me and said, are you drunk? You understand? So it's all about you. Remember, I said I wasn't going to teach you anything. I was just going to share things with you. Now, this is another interesting story. I talked about this before. Now, God has provided infrastructure for us in the form of life support systems, different situations that present themselves to us, but we are free to respond to all these different situations as we like. That freedom opens the door to two kinds of men, success or failure. Being born poor does not mean you're going to be failure. Being an orphan does not mean you're going to be a failure. It's up to you. Remember my village man? He was brighter than me in school. I never finished above him in class. The difference was that my father were to be done that results. And my father said, yeah, go back and repeat. He said, no, I cannot say the same class as junior students. Today, those junior students are buying fear and giving me tips. So let me skip this. Now, let's think about this. You have hands, okay? We all have hands, right? You stand and walk, right? You eat with ease. There's so many things we take for granted. All the things I've listed here, we take them for granted. Now, you've never been to a hospital. You understand what it is to be healthy. You've never been to a prison yard. You understand that you take freedom for granted. You understand? Imagine for a while the limitations you would encounter without the hands and feet. Close your eyes, just imagine. They don't have hands, they don't have feet. Let's just have three volunteers. What would you do? Volunteers, 3 volunteers. What would you do? Just tell me what you would do. Imagine. No hand, no leg. Where's the microphone? Okay. Please tell us.
Can you imagine?
Any other? Please don't
Well, I can become a motivational speaker.
Exactly. In my person, I would ask if there is someone else without arms and legs. And if I'm the only one, then
you do what?
But if there is someone else that is without arms and legs and the person is surviving, is moving on, of course, I want.
You know, when I see people big, when I see people, able-bodied men, come and pause or yin corner. And I look at the guy, I'm like, I was in Lagos in 1980. That's it. Faced a lot of obstacles. I tell you, wondered why he was different. Okay, he almost committed suicide, like the mass solution would do. He stopped himself thinking about his parents. From then on, there was no looking back. He had to learn to stand up by pushing up against the wall with his head. Imagine. Close your eyes, just imagine. His family, man. See, that is why that's his children. That's him writing his hands. Hey, he embraced God. He's an author of several books. He has a ministry. See what is called his ministry? Life Without Limits. Okay? He runs a motivational speaking company. And it's because his attitude is important. Okay? He's acted in several movies. And they were over.
He's happily married.
He has wonderful instrument of entertainment. You know what? When I'm down, when I'm depressed and upset, we are don't let anybody see me. We are all human beings.
Yeah,
sometimes
sure.
What the hell nonsense. When I watch this guy on YouTube, I watch him almost every other day. I ask myself, well, come on, get up, my friend. If I can't move the Bible, I go and take a few shots of something to make me good married. Okay? I've watched several of his videos. This guy can swim. He swims. I'll show you his video. He swims. He plays golf. He plays soccer. And we have two hands. You have 2 hands. You have 2 legs. And you just pour some about. It's up to you. That's why we are here. When you leave this place today, look around you. It's like, who's the opportunities? It's up to you. Let's watch this.
What you know, fear of being alone and having no purpose in your life is one of the most disabling things that you've ever experienced in your life. And you need to know the answer of 2 questions. Who are you, and what do you want? For me, I realized as a kid, there was a choice I had to make. Either believe what the world said, and only believe that broken pieces are ahead of me, or believe that God loves me. It was hard. Because when God says to me, I have a plan for you, I'm thinking, really? And I prayed for arms and legs. What do you want? I wanted arms and legs. It's not that difficult to believe. The God of the Bible says he has a plan for you. Do you see this timeline? I'm 8 years old going forwards into the future. No idea what was ahead. The Bible says he has a plan. We don't see the plan, so it's kind of foolish to believe something that you can't see. But faith helps you to do that. Faith is exactly that. And faith comes when you hear the Word of God. When I heard the Word of God, I still didn't understand His love, His plan. So I prayed for a blueprint of His plan. And He didn't come back to me on that request. And when you don't hear from God, you then start to conclude what you believe. From then on, do you decide to keep on believing and waiting to see what happens and trust Him? Or do we conclude to do this? There is no God. I'm alone. There is no hope. There is no purpose. I'm getting bullied for the rest of my life. I'm never getting married. Never going to have kids. Never going to be happy. Man, was I wrong or what? Then age 10, I tried to end my life, but I'm still here. All I could see were broken pieces, and I had no idea that there would ever be hope for someone truly disabled, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, the whole thing. I mean, on every checkbox. I wasn't myself sometimes. I was so angry at my life. And I want you to know in your life there will be times where you feel like you'll be on the edge. But when you look at the word disabled, D-I-S-A-B-L-E-D, when you turn your back on the lives like this, and you come to the truth will set you free. Do I look disabled to you today? No. When you put a G-O, go, walk by faith and not by sight, and you put a G-O in front of the word disabled, it spells God is able to do what? Ephesians 3:20. Exceedingly abundantly more than you could ever ask, imagine, or attain. What does that mean? It actually means that God has a good plan. He never withholds any good gifts. I was 15 years old and I read John chapter 9. A man was born blind and no one knew why. Jesus was asked by everyone, why was this man born blind? Now, my doctors don't know why I was born this way. My parents don't know why I was born this way. And I want you to know that we don't have any answers for my birth defect. Jesus said this blind man was born this way because God's works are going to be revealed through him. Jesus spits on the dirt, puts mud on the face of the blind man, and there is no record of the blind man saying anything, flinching, asking anything, moving backward, nothing. Jesus performs his miracle as he is still. I realized Jesus did not sit the blind man down and say, Mr. Blind Man, my name is JC, I'm the healer, I'm about to spit in the dirt and give you a facial, and after we wipe the mud off your face, you're going to see. He didn't do that. God doesn't need to tell me his plan. I just need to be still and believe he has a plan. That's when you walk by faith. Why would you need faith if God told you everything? If I was age 8 and I prayed for arms and legs and God instead told me everything he's going to do until the age of 33, you gotta be kidding me. I would die of shock. Writing books, 55 languages. If God can use a man without arms and legs to be his hands and feet, then who can God not use? Amen? He loves you, and he can do anything with your broken pieces.
Do you still have excuse? Do you still have any excuse?
No more excuses.
Well, to round up, I sat down, like I said, I've watched this guy 1,001 times. I read every piece of item ever written about him and written by him. And it took me, I had a trailer load of lessons. I have a trailer load of lessons I've learned from him. But I tried to compress 12 of them to share with you lessons that I've learned from him, which I believe can also help you. 12 of them are here, so I'll take them one by one. First lesson I learned from this man is that you must understand and accept that life has challenges. You must accept. I have a big nose, man. I take all the hair more than some people here, but I accepted it. Okay? Nick admits that it wasn't easy being born with medical condition. He was not always happy. But see, just like many people, he was also once angry about his helpless condition. It was only when he learned to understand and accept his situation that he was able to turn around his attitude and be a positive person in his life. So once you learn and understand and accept your situation, then you can turn it around. True or false? What is your life's greatest challenge? Understand and learn and accept it. If the situation cannot be changed, it doesn't mean it should cripple you. It just means you should accept it and take it with you through your journey. There are some things you can't change. He had no arms, he had no legs. He could have killed himself like he tried to, but he moved on. Second lesson I learned from him was you define your ability. Okay, while Nick technically has been born without arms and legs, he did not let his lack define what he can or cannot do. Despite this, Nick is able to do what common people can. He can swim, he drives. Well, I'd expect him to go through his videos on YouTube, you'll be amazed. He surfs. He has done almost anything and everything any person would dream of. He knows and has done what he can do and not what he can't. He knows his limitations. He defines his ability. Sir, if my boss had called me one day and said, Charles, go and be commissioner for finance, I'll beg him and say, God, please, sir, that means going to jail because I don't like figures. Or instead ask me to be commissioner for health, I'll kill people. So I know my limits. There are things I know I'm not good at. And luckily my training had defined me that, look, you define where you can play. Where areas I cannot play, I leave it to the expert. Okay, when the electricians come to my house to work, I'm not an electrician. I watch. Okay? Now, he knows. And he knows and he has done what he can. It is your choice to define your ability. That's what Nick does. So, from today, I believe you can define your ability. Dreams. Big dreams. If a man without arms and legs is dreaming big, why can't we? I guess this is straightforward. You always have a choice. Remember when I started, I said choice, and choices. In life, we have so many choices. Every day, we make choices. Nick always says he does have choices. The choice to be angry at God. Now, how many of us have been angry at God? At God, why am I poor? Why am I short? Why am I fat? Why am I this? Hey, not for Nick. Sorry? But guess what? He chooses to be grateful and happy despite that. I could be angry with God, I have big nose. Fact. Okay? To wish for change will change nothing. To make a decision to take action right now will change everything. It means you must take action. Nick is a man who advocates for dreaming big, but he doesn't stop there. He encourages everyone to take action. Okay, you're blocking the screen now. We may be in circumstances that dictates us to just become victims and let life take hold of us. But we will never know what we can unless we act. I never thought if somebody had told me that I could be talking engineering and environmental issues without looking at books, I would say, Meanwhile, let me also shock you. Do you know how I got into information management? You know, one of the principles I learned in life is power of being good to people. Now, no matter how anybody hates me, I give you back love. I was in one of the banks I work for. For some strange reason, my boss just didn't like my guts. Okay? And my job was restricted. Then one fine day, I walked into my boss's office and I saw my boss in tears. I was like, Kilode. They were like, they said they were going to fire me. And I said, why? They said, there was some document they were supposed to write that they didn't write on it for over 2 months. So I looked at it. Because I'm an artist, so I think, okay? And I took the document and I went and wrote the thing and came back. That changed my life. That's how I started doing journalism. Okay? And I became so powerful that, hey, everything stopped on my table. Now, number 6, lesson I learned. Don't feel too comfortable. Don't feel too comfortable. Complacency sets in. Dangerous situation you find yourself. Number 7, overcome hopelessness. A lot of us are hopeless. Some of us who don't believe him. Sorry. If this guy, no arms, no legs, could do this, what's stopping? What's their own excuse? Do you have? Then 8, be healthy and stay healthy. Use your heart. Last, hey, you can't get nothing without God. Nick had faith in God. Nick's faith in God is something that he is never ashamed of. From the video, he's saying, I'm someone who says, just have positive attitude or just have a little faith, because without God, those words are meaningless and empty. My faith in God and my personal relationship has given me the strength to go on, and the humility. Mark the word humility. The man in whose honor we are here today is one of the most humble human beings we ever found. And then look at this, grace. And if also listening to me, you've also heard him talk about grace and mercy. Grace and mercy. Now those are 2 things that are inseparable. To ask him to change my life. So I communicate with God. So those are 12 of the lessons. Okay, no, 2 more. Now share your faith. Listen to me. What is your stronghold? What keeps you going? Share with others. You don't have the habit of, you know something you want to hire. In reality, you hire a cleaner to clean your house, okay? Or you're hired as a cleaner to sweep this room. And you have a special technique of sweeping this room. Okay? From January to December, you sweep. Let's say you sweep this room. You still don't share. But guess what? If you share, and somebody else knows how to sweep this room, chances are the owner of the business will promote you to become supervisor. And then you can grow, and others can grow. But the tendency of most guys is that, look, top protection, silo, this is me, who protected it. It means you stagnate. So one of the lessons I learned is that you share and share your faith. And then inspire others. That's why we are here. That's why you see all these people here, living their businesses. Because they think of the future. But remember my friend that came from Lagos and said, the street, there's poverty in the street. We need poverty of human capital. Now, how do you grow people? You only grow people when you learn. In the banks where I worked, we are trained to hire the brightest and best, because the bulk stops on your table. And so the only way you can survive as a manager is when you hire people who are bright, who can challenge your intellectual ability, to also help you grow, because they know that as a manager you have limitations. We all have limitations. We all have our shortcomings. But what helps you is the people, when you build a stronger team, you encourage to hire the brightest and best. You cannot have a Ronaldo in Aqua United. In fact, if you want to be World Player of the Year, you must build a winning team. If Ronaldo were to play for Aqua United, he would play with Akadai. So, quickly, I also took time from those lessons. I know that all of us make excuses. I've picked out 13 points that I think will help you to stop making excuses and take responsibility. 1, stop comparing yourself with others. I'm short, okay? The other man is tall, so bloody what? Okay? That is his own peculiarity. Stop fearing the unknown. Sometimes it's a fear of unknowns. Stop blaming others for their misfortune. Oh, sorry. Nick did that. Nick would never be where he is. Take responsibility, take action. Set small attainable goals. I told you, as a young man, I said I wasn't going to be old no more. My father, when I told my father I was going to study fine art, he said, but I had a different vision. I had a different goal. Learn from your mistakes. You make mistakes, you must learn from those mistakes. Don't let those mistakes define you. Truth is that you made mistakes yesterday, you're making mistakes today, you make mistakes tomorrow. The important thing is that clarity of purpose and learn from those mistakes. And then 8, don't focus on your weaknesses. We all have weaknesses. Don't amplify your weaknesses. You have the power to change. Do we? Yes. Do we? Yes. Self-efficacy, visualizing your success. When you see yourself as being successful. Let me share a scenario with you. A friend of mine graduated a double master's degree. But he was always having this, what you call a top syndrome. Okay, we can back. Who say you got it your own? And then for me, I always dreamed of working in a bank. So even when he saw the advert of a bank, he didn't look at it. He just saw a bank looking vacancy bank. To him, it's not for me. But that guy was doubly qualified. It took me to show him. It's okay if you're not perfect. Yes, it's a habit that can be changed. Okay, so stop making excuses. Don't let anybody tell you that it's impossible, that that word does not exist. What did I say? It does not exist. Success is what comes after you stop making excuses. So final words. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become action. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, they become your destiny. Having faith, beliefs, convictions is a great thing, but your life is measured by the actions you take based on them. I have a choice to be angry with God for what I don't have, or be thankful for what I have. Which one would you rather do? For every situation you are, there are 1,001 people dreaming of being where you are. Look at me. No arms, no legs. So what's your excuse? Why are you complaining? Why can you complain? I encourage you to accept that you may not be able to see a path right now, but it doesn't always mean the path is not there. Sometimes you won't see it. I strongly recommend that you spend 30 minutes a day in daily self-improvement. You see, every time I'm sure for those that are very close to me, I'm always with my phone. I'm not chatting, I'm reading. But my phone is like my mobile office. I have those who have my 100 books if you have that phone. So I'm reading. I suggest you do that first thing in the morning. You will be displacing any and all negativity before you set out for the day. Then I suggest at night before you retire, you read something that scares your faith and inner creativity. It is not enough to displace negativity. You have to feel that vacuum. Nature allows vacuum. Bottom line, you decide whether you are going to be a victor or a victim. Which one do you want to be? A victor. But seriously, what's your excuse? Do we have an excuse from now on?
No. Go out there and shine.
Well, on that note, questions, comments, I hand over to the MC.
Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I thought we had been seated for more than an hour. We can stand again and now give a big standing ovation to that masterly presentation. What a wonderful, very heartwarming session. Mind-stimulating session. Thank you very much, Sir Charles Udall, for. Can we please be seated? Thank you very much. We very deeply appreciate you. Thank you very, very much indeed. I know that all of us have been refreshed. I told you that this masterclass will stimulate your mind, will make you unlearn some of the things that you already had learned, deposited in you over the years, and now you have seen that your mind is refreshed. And I know that after such a thought-stirring presentation, that questions are all over you on gray areas in your life that you would want to dig in and also put those questions together. If you can write them, you can write them. If you're going to raise your hand, please, you will go straight to the point by mentioning your name, your designation where necessary, and ask the questions. No room for appreciations and the other remarks. But while that lecture was ongoing, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I know that this man is an epitome and perfect example of humility, and would not even want to be recognized at this event, even despite the fact that we know that this is done in his name. And most of the examples that were given were short of actually mentioning his name. A great Christian, wonderful leader who has gone through the wrongs of life. For a man, a boy who had lost his father early on, to go through all the vicissitudes of life to become such an outstanding personality in life, as a Christian leader, as a religious leader, as a quintessential administrator, an entrepreneur of several decades, and having gone through the records, I'm here to see another quite good person that has run business single-handedly, as consistent as this gentleman has so done over the decades. And very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are very delighted to welcome a man whose time has come, a man who has paid his dues, a man whom God has chosen to honor. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, former governor. Okay, he's currently the governor, he has resigned. So I think you are governor of royalty back again, by fire and by force. And the incoming governor. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful candidates for the governor's election in our Washington State, our dear pastor, Umo Eno has joined us in this wonderful afternoon. Can we give him a greater, more resounding round of applause? God bless you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please may we be seated, but I don't know what force we will use to gravitate him from the region of lower concentration to that of the higher concentration. Is it by clapping? Will it be by shouting? We want to adopt every means to go from safety over here to the front. Can we give a better round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? The man of the moment, quintessential, brilliant, cerebral, humble, great achiever of many parts and multiple wins. Welcome you very especially, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much for coming to share this moment with us. This is the kind of thing he lives for. The improvement of the human person, the improvement of young people. Thank you so very much for yielding this platform for us to use and improve ourselves and our well-being. God bless you immensely. And he has this permanent smile that is tattooed on his face. You will never catch him frowning. Can we give him one final round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome you so very especially. And I'm also very reliably informed that the deputy governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, a great lady of class and quality. Ladies and gentlemen, why not put your hands together for the distinguished Senator Alfred Eyanyi. She deserves a much better round of applause. Shall we make it louder? God bless you, man. Thank you very much. That lady is another study in success and consistency. God bless you, worthy role models. Thank you very much. We please appreciate you. Let's assume your seats. Please can you take your seats? Thank you very much. We welcome you very especially. Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This is the Team Umo Eno Youth Mentorship Masterclass. It's been a mind-blowing session, building a new generation of entrepreneurs and leaders. And we are very delighted that we have had a very, very engaging session with Sir Charles Uro, who has taken us through a very, very exciting journey in knowledge and experience. And the young people here are fired up. They are already gearing for a complete new phase of life. And so we'll take questions, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can have answers here. How many questions do we have, please? Just show by lift of the hand. Your Excellency is very distinguished, ladies and gentlemen. Keep those questions cooking in your minds. We are giving you enough time to summarize them, and don't lose sight of all those questions. We will be taking goodwill messages at this time. Goodwill messages, we have people who represent different walks of life at this event, who have honored us with their time and presence. Told you earlier, Mr. Sikam John is here, of SIG Motors, a study in business and consistency and success, and indeed all our other very special guests who had joined us here, including our Commissioner who joined us in the course of the event. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you very much. And so the first goodwill message will come from a lady who has gone through the different arms of government and the different strata of human society. She served in the Executive Council in Akwa Ibom State in the very first democratic dispensation. And not just served there, she performed very meritoriously, very well, and has gone through to other very distinguished responsibilities, serving as Honorable Minister in this Federal Republic of Nigeria, and to have gone to the Federal Executive Council, it means that you must have been your very best. And she has also served in several capacities, very numerable to mention, and currently representing everybody from Eket Senatorial District in that National Assembly as a distinguished senator. And by God's grace, we are very happy to welcome once again an incoming female Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State from May 29, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, she will be the first democratically elected female Deputy Governor, distinguished Senator Akron. Can we please appreciate her with a very, very resounding round of applause. Welcome, thank you very much.
Thank you. Please sit down. Good afternoon, everybody. Team Umo Eno. Wait for all. Build the youth. Build the nation. Above all. PDP. Power to the people. PDP. Your Excellency, my super boss. A super boss. The incoming governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umo Eno. I'm loyal, sir. My loyalty is 100%. If there's anything plus, add that. My loyalty is 100% plus. Honorable Commissioners, former House of Reps member, American National Assembly. Please permit me to acknowledge the leadership of Team Umo Eno and all the youths seated here. I want to say I'm very happy to stand before you today. As a youth, I'm not an old woman. Age is in the mind. You can be 100 years and still think, have focus, have vision. As a youth, so far it is positive. I stand here today to say I'm very, very happy to stand before you. My boss just put a call through to me for something else. He wanted to send someone. And I said, no, sir, I'm coming. I'm free. That's loyalty. That's respect. That's giving honor to whom honor is due. And I jumped into the car and came in here. I wasn't aware that this type of great program is going on. Let me start first by appreciating the leadership of Team Umo Eno. From day one, I heard this name. I'd been asking my brother, the Honorable Commissioner, what the mission, what the vision of the group is all about. We're not struggling position, we're not struggling anything with any other group. It's an umbrella body that is working towards the success of the project that we are holding. We are all turning in whatever we are doing onto the mother body, which is PDP. So, there's no case for conflict. There's no man that will stand the test of time. And you say that man was its own value, the onions, without having a focus, a vision in anything that God exposes him to do. Luckily for us in Akwa Ibom State, we had a man sent in to salvage Akwa Ibom in a time like this, and that's the governor of Akwa Ibom State, His Excellency Udo Emmanuel, whose vision, whose focus was to ensure that Akwa Ibom moved from the level it was to a better position, and who is also conscious of the fact that one day he will leave the seat, who will continue with this vision. Under God's guidance, an angel emerged in the person of Pastor Umo Eno. In every time or season of leadership, there's always a focus. One can come and say, I want to concentrate with infrastructure, and you'll see the light go that way. Another can come and say, I want to focus on education. You'll see concentration in that line. God has given us a man for a time like this, when Nigeria, so I don't know what Barrack's life is like, but Barrack's life is a place that if you're not careful, if you're not well guided, you can go astray. But God picked him from nothing, and he became an entrepreneur, an employer of people. He will not just sit at home to employ. It's because he listened to God, had the focus, whatever cover that came into his hand, he invested and monitored, and to ensure that that cover that I put in will bring another cover, and another cover will bring another. He started we all know, with just 5 rooms in Eke. But today, there's no hotel in Nigeria that can beat what we have here in our country. If you were not properly mentored, if he did not have a positive eye for tomorrow, he would not have gone this far. Not only here, we have a bigger signature, and it's going to spread. Like you have Hilton, like you have Marriott. By God's grace, Signature Hotel will also get into the international schedule that you have elsewhere. That's someone that started as a youth. He didn't start as an old man. Because the little he saw, he said, let me go back home. Let me start something. And so, you have the privilege today of sitting here to listen to professionals see you through, guide you on mindsets, on how to turn that your mindset into something. Our incoming governor has come up with a beautiful blueprint, which I'm very certain you will be exposed to. It's not just politics. It's someone that has the heart, the mindset to know if I set up an investment, a chain investment, it will carry the youth out of the streets. If you have that focus and you're asked, come and do printing, the paper that we have, the folder, someone can be a designer of that folder. That's all you do. You'll be paid for it. You make a living from there. Another will sell the paper itself. Another could sell ink. You make a living from it. While the last person will be the printer. You will not just be the, you sell the paper, you sell the ink. You must pick it up from someone. How do we get us involved? What is important is your mindset. You might start little, like he started. You might start little to sell a paper. You can grow into a mega stationery store that everybody will want to come and buy from. That's the idea that the Igbo people have. You train this, he picks up. Train another person, he picks up. It could be in the same trade. You can have 10, 20 people in this room selling the same item without envying the brother. Same item, and all of them will break even. But unfortunately in our own, if I do a hotel and another person wants to start a hotel, I'll be jealous. Why must he? And then I'll look for a way to run you down. Instead of giving you idea, this is what I did to succeed. If you do it this way, you will succeed. That's the first orientation of the mind that we must have. You must also think about, how do I stand on my own? It's not every day, Governor, I'm hungry, he gives you. Tomorrow, Governor, my child is hungry, he gives you. No. let's start from now to also have a mindset that one day Governor Umo Eno coming in will step aside. Who will succeed him? You can't focus and say, I will be the next. But before you get there, what's your thinking mindset? How do you focus? How do you plan? So I stand here today as a mother to encourage you. Please open your mind. Let it not be at the end of the day. No. Most people that attend programs like this, their concern is, oh, okay, don't need transport money. No, let it not be that. You can pick what they are going to say, and then that dream will come, and you'll put it down as the Bible directs. One day, God will make a way for you, and you will start. I started as a primary school teacher. I don't say secondary. Started my life as a primary school teacher. I didn't go to secondary school. I passed through TTC. That time, those who were in secondary will say, you were not born then, I'm sure. Some of you. My father encouraged me to, because he was a tutor in ATTC here, now university. He had a medical doctor, he had engineer, he had lawyer, all professions, but he didn't have a teacher. When it was my turn, he said, I want you to be a teacher. It's a good profession. And I said, no, I want to go to Mariani. He said, no, it will be good for you. From there, NCE, from there, degree, from there, PhD. Am I not doing good? Am I not established? It has to do with this. I want to encourage you. Please take the program seriously. What you don't understand, ask. If you get back home and you want to start something, you don't know how to come back to them. They'll be open to listen to you, to counsel you, and by God's special grace, 2023, you have a governor that will ensure that this training is not in vain. If he picks you up, you will pick another person. Another person will pick another person. And Akwa Ibom will be better for all of us. God bless you.
I thought we could do better by giving a more resounding round of applause to the incoming Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Very inspiring, goodwill message there. Distinguished Senator Dr. Akun Eyayi. Thank you so very much. It couldn't have been better delivered. Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This nation is at a crossroads now. If you read the news, if you follow events, we are at a point that we either sink or we survive. Barack Obama, 44th President of the United States, said this is a special generation and we are in a defining moment. This country at the moment is in a defining period. And leaders who have been prepared for moments like this must naturally arise. That is why in Akwa Ibom State, God, who has always been the chief driver, has made sure that at this point, we have a person in whose hands things grow. I'm very delighted to, at this point, bring on one very fine gentleman who is time-tested, resources tested, and has delivered results as far as human capital development is concerned. From that 1997, of whose story we've heard severally, a gentleman who began with 5 rooms and grew it to a big industry of hotels, apartments, eateries, coffee shops, big industrial catering management, even water production, and the like of everything you could imagine. A gentleman who could manage a team of over 2,000 people in over 12 different locations, including offshore and onshore locations, and is able to service them and maintain those facilities. Someone who is prepared academically and has gathered all the degrees, a first degree, a master degree, his own doctorate degree. One man who has had experience, the first indigenous company to be able to manage a full industrial catering of that magnitude, providing for several multinational companies, Agami, FSPO, Chevron, Mobile Producing Nigeria, in different locations, who is able to feed and be responsible for the feeding of several multinationals of different countries, and they are entrusted him with their own food and eating and everything. That gentleman who has also had cognate public administration experience, that is the quality of the next leader of Akwa Ibom State. And so we are very delighted to welcome the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Akwa Ibom State, ladies and gentlemen, a man who is celebrating 36 years of marriage today. Umo Eno. Can we please appreciate him with a better round of applause?
Let's take our seats. Thank you so much. Thank you. Umo Eno. Win for all. Win for all. PDP. Power to the people. Power to the people. PDP. Wow. The distinguished Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished Senator Akodeyayi, PhD, and the Deputy Governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party of Akwa Ibom State, we salute you. Very distinguished lady indeed, and a mother in her own right, and a woman who has mentored a whole lot of people. She just delivered a lecture in this masterclass. And the kind of people you see are people that can just speak. Is it extempore? Is that how you call it? Well, I didn't go to school. Don't and so don't worry that. So I like to always confirm my English. I didn't go to school, so they say. And they are throwing all manner of things in the works, but I'm told that's the new definition of politics. But it doesn't really matter to me, and this matter will take its due course in courts, and facts are emerging, and so I don't want to talk about that. That was just, I tried to check my English with the people. So I'd like to thank God for her. I'd like to thank God for our mama, the former House of Reps member, a woman I love and respect very much. Thank you so much for being part of Umo. I used to think that Umo is just a collection of some, you know, go people. But I don't know how they got Mama in there, but we celebrate it. And all the leadership of this team, I thank you so much. I thank you so much for making me feel the impact of Umo Eno. I thank you because, you know, a lot of people, when they hear Umo Eno, they've called me, you've been in the eyes of the storm too. And that's why why do I have to set up my team? I said, I didn't set up any team. These are just people who believe in a simple dream, and they've come together spending their money spending their time. I'm not part of this at all. It is just their own creation and a way of contributing. So when people want to contribute and they believe in a vision, you don't stop them. You know, some people went to Jesus and said, we have some people there, they are casting out demons in your name, and they are not part of us here. Jesus said to them, he who is not against us is for us. So let them go on, you know. So this is what this team is all about. I like to say that I love what they are doing. And we have over 1,000 groups. And I love what everyone is doing. And every one of them is like a father who has many children. Those children appeal to you different ways. So this team appeal to me in different ways. And in their own way, they've been able to bring in very distinguished personalities. They have been able to do that on their own. I find my brother, Sik Motors, is here. The Dangote of Usurubi. Trying to leave his business to sit here means a lot to me. So there are people, so they are able to do that. We're all working towards the same goal. Like Her Excellency have said, we're all working towards the same goal. So there's no room, we complement rather than compete, you know. And so I like to say that very, very clearly. I was going to the office. As a matter of fact, we have something to do with Her Excellency in the office, but when I know people are here, there's no way I will just pass. So each and every time that happens, it's just a coincidence. If I tell you that I don't know about this planning, it's not in my schedule at all. But I like what they are doing, you know, and I want to thank you so much. And then all of you that have come from everywhere, understand that, of course, the hall couldn't take more than this. We would have loved to extend beyond this, but it's a continuous thing. I want to thank you too. I want to thank you because if I had anyone that took me through this kind of foundation, probably I would have done better. Friends, the reality we see today started when I was just 31 years. Yes, 1995, when we started working on royalty, I was 31 years old. And so I was a youth too. And we started just having an idea and dreaming about it and talking about it and beginning to think about it, seeing opportunity. Till tomorrow, all I do is to look for opportunities. When I find them, I pursue them. You know, I simply came to Eket, and then I was building my country home, and I didn't have a place to sleep. I remember one day sleeping in the car, and I now started to find, why would a town like this not have a hotel? And at the same time, the company I worked for, we just gave them a visibility study because I had moved on, we were trying to do more businesses, and we identified a few businesses that we could expand into. Hotel was one of them, water company was another, and probably salt was another. And they said to me, these things won't work. And here I came into Akwa Ibom, no hotel. And so I resigned from my company because they didn't feel, I felt I spent time preparing visibility, and they told me it won't work. Every time people tell me it won't work. Every time. That's why you see me thank the Kinodom Emmanuel so very much. I thank him and will continue to thank him. I don't care what anybody says. He's my political mentor. And I respect and I always respect. He's my political father. You know, I may be senior to him in age. He turned 56 yesterday. I'm already going to 59. But the truth I want to say is that the road you've not passed before and somebody has gone that road, the person is your mentor. It's not about age. So when the other time people saw me kneel down and they also brought some issues out of it, the man is the king today over Akwa Ibom. And if for the office you seek, he's holding the power to it, you don't feel you should kneel down and respect him. then I don't know what we think. You know, so those things, you know, every time I consistently see that we are living our background. Everything you see anybody do, check his background. So that's just what it is. So, I don't know how he found me. I don't know what he saw in me that others did not see. And again, nobody wants to give you a chance. You know, but you guys are giving me a chance, aren't you? They don't give you a chance. They feel no, it won't work. So I found that visibility and I resigned. I took that report and then that's how royalty started. And how did we raise money? Simple idea. Just walk up to ExxonMobil and say to ExxonMobil, you know what? I see that you don't have a hotel. The only hotel you have here is Croix River. If I give you a hotel, will you take it? Like, yeah, we will, like yesterday. And I remember, I can't forget, that it was a Yoruba man, Alhaji B.T. Bishi, that took me to the white guy. And I said, please, can you give me a letter of intent? Non-committal letter of intent. It's about ideas. So, well, we'll give you. And they said, this letter is given, but there's no commitment on our part. But they gave me the letter. And it was that letter I raised 10 million naira. And that's what, and 10 million naira then, 5 million naira. The woman who helped me is Mrs. Juliet Achibom. The husband is a judge, and they live in Calabar now. See, these things, I will quote names to you, so people are alive. And so I've been on the streets long enough. And by the time you know my background, and know the background I come from, you would have had every reason to fail. Every reason to fail. So when I see youth do what they do, it's because they don't have anyone to mentor them. And so that's why I believe that Team Umo Eno have carved a niche for themselves, and they run this masterclass so as to help mentors of our youth and give them a direction. And that's why I thank them. I thank them and I'm grateful for this vision, because, you know, this is how, by the grace of God, Akwa Ibom will go. Gone will be those days when every youth on the streets of Akwa Ibom will be made to become a beggar. Those days are forever gone. Because again, like I keep saying, we are deliberately trying to control the mindset of these youths, and then we wait until when we want to use them, we come and put something in their hands, and then tell them, okay, go and kill, or go and do this, because we have given, when we finish, we abandon them. No, that's not going to happen again. I knew where God has brought me from, and my vision is, if God could have done this for me, He can do it for any young person. All you need is to be focused, to be guided. And that's the difference between what you have and what I did not have. I was being led by the Holy Spirit. And so even if I didn't go to any school on earth at all, and I'm able to set up the things God has helped me to do, I put it with all humility that I'm better than every one of them that went to school. Because they can't show me how many people they've employed in this state. They can't show me their impact that they've made on the economy of this state. They can't show me that they've stimulated the economy of this state. I may not have gone to school, but all of my children have been to university and they came out first class. At least 2 of them. 3 of them came out first class. So you may not, like they said to Macbeth, you may not be a king, but you produce kings. And so school for me is not sitting in the classroom. School for me is everything that life has put you through and you have come out of it. That's the greatest school. And that's not to say that I didn't go to school when I had to. But I'm just saying that beyond sitting in the classroom, you know, I think school is about the totality of a man and what destiny throws at him and how he's able to overcome. That's what school is. So basically, we have this opportunity today, and I'd like you to take good use of it. I'm so encouraged by what Umo Eno has done that now I want to personally partner with them. You don't know why I want to partner with them. There's a program I've been sponsoring for some time now. It's called the Ignite. And we bring people together and to encourage them. And we're having that session this year. And it's going to be not in Eket, we want to do it in Uyo. And we want to the same Ignite, but it will be a business meeting. We're bringing speakers all over the world, and we're trying to ensure that the theme is mind shift. I don't know how the deputy governor candidate, the governorship candidate, is mind shift. And so, but I've been trying to look for a group that can help because it's bigger than the usual thing we do in our church. So now that Umo Eno, I've seen this category of people and this caliber of men and women that have put this together, I'm going to work with them so that we can increase and do Ignite this year on a bigger note. The event begins on the 14th over the 16th of September. And so I'd like you to, that's the first date, that's the first set of people hearing the date. And so, on the street, we can get everybody to work. Policy to support growing businesses. The biblical concept, God will bless the work of your hands. And so if you're doing anything, we're going to create business hubs. The deputy governor, national candidate talked about, I don't even want to be using candidates because I see her as a deputy. Everyone is so blessed that she just told you a story. From a primary school teacher, you can see the progression, to rising, to becoming commissioner, minister, senator, deputy governor. So she has all the people believed in. That it will bring our youth together, put them in a place, talk to them, and let them think. And then the missing link is always funding. That if by the grace of God, God says you become the governor, because power belongs to God. Leave all this noise that everybody is making. If God doesn't want to give you, He won't give you. If He says it's you, there's nothing anybody can do. Then government will deliberately support these small, medium enterprises. That's what I keep saying to people. If all of you here have a business and we create those business hubs, she talked about printing. Why don't we have a printing village? Just create it. Let them, everybody that will sell anything around there is everything about printing. And then you have a printing press in that village that I can do my bit, you can do your bit, because the problem is that you may not have money to run a printing press. You may not have. So, but if we put one printing press around the whole village, and it's digital. So if you are a graphic designer, you can be in that village. Whatever you are doing, so everybody can do what they are doing and take it to, it's called shared value. And so everybody, if I want to print anything, there's a place, Shomolu Bariga. How many of you know Shomolu Bariga in Lagos? That's what they do. If you want anything printing, that's where you go. They will give you, you are standing like this, they are giving it to you. So why can't we create that? So that if it's printing, our youths that are graphic designers, our youths that have ideas, they can all hang around that. And they know that this is a printing village. People that go to Dubai, you see what happens. You have all this health village, education village, this village, and they build it around. So young people can go there, and then face what they want to do. You have another hub, maybe fashion village. I've talked about this before. You have another, you create those hubs in such a way that if anybody is in Akwa Ibom and says, I want to do this, Somebody can simply say that's where it's done. So when you get there, you get everything you want. You get everything you want. You have all your stationaries in that village, all the printing things in that village. So you are not driving from one end of the road to another. You bring everybody into a place. They form a big association and people can do things. I believe that the next phase is entrepreneurship. This government that we are now have done a lot on infrastructural development. A lot. The roads, the industries. Tell me, is it? As a matter of fact, the Kingdom Emmanuel has launched Akwa Ibom to the world through land, air, and sea. You've seen it, you know it. If you travel to other states and come back here, you will know that this is the place to be. You know the difference. But you see, while that has happened, for people to enjoy this infrastructure, there must be money in their pocket. Yes. And so that's why the next government should be looking at entrepreneurship. Yes. How to create businesses, small businesses, to create businesses. The government have set up Ibom Fadama Microfinance Bank for farmers. So the next phase will be how to create these farmers, have hubs and create farms so that they can have access to funding through the microfinance bank. The game, I say, the truth here is, if you don't understand how it works, you can't put it together. You can't. You can't. This is not about grammar. It's not. These are practical things that people can see. In Germany, people have told me, I've not been there before, but I have a German friend who have said, look, nobody talks to you about how many degrees you have. You can fix this AC, fix it, and we discuss your salary. So people learn hard work, and they do the work. Don't let people come out of the university, and they can't even write a simple application. Let people be employable, and let them be employers themselves from the time they leave school. So we'll set up a lot of hubs, technical school, all of that. But that's not, as I have the opportunity, I'm telling you that you're blessed, that something new is beginning. And I want to thank Umo Eno for putting this together, because this will be the way to go. But don't let it die here. Take this masterclass, and when the Ignite comes up, everyone will be there. Don't let it just be another motivational speech. When you leave, begin to think of what to do. Begin to have idea. What is it we don't have in Akwa Ibom that we can bring in? What can we? Because at a certain time, you have to submit this proposal to an agency that people will evaluate. So yes, call this person. Talk to this person. How can you start this little thing you have talked about? See, with shoes, I have shoes that are made in this state. So why can't we set up that kind of hub and bring in machines and there will be jobs. I tell you the truth. If God gives me the privilege, I become the governor of this state. I tell you, give me 6 months, I'll create 5,000 jobs. And no one of that job will be government. Somebody came the other day and said, we work, they didn't give us PA. They didn't come, even PA, they didn't give us. I said, you don't need a PA. How much are they paying PA? What are you paying for? What if you have something that you yourself can make 500,000, 1 million every month? He said, how? I said, wait and see. So that you can make government not to be interesting. People go out there, make money, and they can be big. So let me tell you, for every bottle of Glenfiddich you drink, and we drink it a lot here, somebody is making money at home. Cabana is it Cubana or Cabana? It's making money at home. Every bottle of Glenfiddich, every bottle. So how can I make? Let's identify our drink and say, okay, you see, what's the drink we want to bring? Let's go to the source. And then let's support you to become a major distributor. And so what do? We identify the source, government gets involved in negotiation, and we are putting you up. It's your business, but we'll be with you. Then I build a bonded warehouse. And I'm going to support you to bring in that drink. When I support you to bring in your drink, I put it in the bonded warehouse. That's my collateral. Now I tell you, every 10 cartons you take, pay to these accounts. As you pay, take the other one. At the end of the day, the money comes back. And then I can support you to go again. By the time you do that 3-4 times, you have made your own money to go by yourself. And government have recovered its own money. Because as a good businessman, I must secure government money. I will not let it go. So if you think I'm going to bring it and give to you, you won't get it that way. But I will support you to bring it. We put it in government warehouse. And as you take, the only risk I have may be the first 100 cartons. If you don't bring it back, take that one now. We look for somebody else to begin to sell. But if you know this is a mentoring scheme to set you up, and you are, before you go to that to bring in that drink, would have put you in a business class. So you already would have established your distributors. It would do 3 months business class for you. As one of the things we'll do in this state is to have a South Business School, so that you are taught, you already know you are hot on fire. When you bring it, you know where to distribute already. So we can do that. And so you bring your own drink, and instead of somebody else, you are the one distributing for the whole of Akwa Ibom. People will come from outside and take from you. You identify another thing, identify another person. Identify in each local government, you could produce multi. And these people will have their mind. They could have their mind. They are not going home. And see, let me tell you something. Maybe this should be off camera. Please, off the cameras. And those of you who carry, I'm not even saying a bad thing. Because you see, I want you to take away this mentality that somebody is not from my place. No, it's not true. When God raised Cyrus, he wasn't a Jew. And he let the Jews to go and gave them money. The person that is from your place may not necessarily be your redeemer. After all, they've always been there. Show me the things they've done. Show me now. They've been there 16 years, 20 years from your place. In what borehole? So this idea of you're going to come in, just pray to God to give you a leader that is spirit-filled, that will be just to everybody. I'm telling you. So well, I've come today. I think I'm taking a session, even though it's possible to start from scratch. At that event in September, we'll get people like Simotos to tell you his story. We have a Bible who will come and say, look, you are looking at me today, I'm a big man. This is my story. So you will know. And I'm not sure Simotos had anybody to support him. The difference between our story and your story will be that a government came in place and decided to support you. So if you fail without that, you don't have anybody to blame. If you fail, you don't have anybody to blame. So I want to thank you, and I'm told that 102 people are here. And how many? Well,
102.
102. Okay. See, when I asked him, Umo Eno, so you brought these people, will you give them transport? They said they didn't make arrangement for transport. That they made arrangements for, please take off your camera.